been the soundtrack of the American pastime.
He struck it out looking. It's over. It's over. The Rangers have won the World Series.
The soundtrack of summer. This is Major League Baseball on the radio.
Right now on SiriusXM.
All rise. Coming in 5.
Get ready to play.
4.
Get up! Get up!
3.
Can you believe it? Put your seatbelt on.
Wow.
My goodness.
Major League Baseball play-by-play is now on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM.
Let's go, man!
We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Cookout 400 from Martinsville Speedway.
Checker flag, baby. Yeah.
On SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Yeah.
Get closer to everything that moves you wherever you are with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yeah.
The Women's NCAA Tournament is on SiriusXM.
It is going to be fun. It is going to be interesting.
For the best guests.
Dawn Staley.
I just want us to be who we've been.
And coverage of March Madness. Tune in to SiriusXM SEC Radio from the biggest stars.
Reese putback is good. Nobody wants any part.
No part of it.
Of Angel Reese right now.
To the top teams. We've got you covered through the National Championship in Cleveland. It's all on SiriusXM SEC Radio Channel 374 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Get ready for the 2024 NFL Draft on SiriusXM NFL Radio.
Touchdown, Caleb Williams.
Catch exclusive interviews with the top prospects as they begin their journey to the NFL. And hear pick-by-pick coverage of the 2024 Draft from Detroit.
With the first pick, the Chicago Bears select.
Your home for the 2024 NFL Draft is SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, original specials, and much, much, much more. All baseball, every day, on your radio. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app. You love listening to baseball. You love talking about baseball. You love yelling at your buddies about baseball because they love baseball, and so do we. That's why SiriusXM has the only channel on the radio dedicated to baseball 24/7. It's MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89. News, opinions, passionate baseball talk from former players and GMs, plus interviews with players, managers, and executives, and much, much, much more. If you can hear me right now, you've got MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
The most important person in sports is you, the fan.
Let me tell you something. I'm a real fan.
And your place for sports talk is Mad Dog Sports Radio, where your voice is heard all day long.
I couldn't wait to get into the truck, turn on 82.
Share the thrill of victory.
The joy, the jubilation. I can't stop smiling.
And the agony of defeat.
When is this franchise going to realize people really care about this?
Passionate sports fans call 888-MAD-DOG-6.
You gotta love sports.
Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82, or anytime on the SiriusXM app.
Dorf. Call 647-243-2006.
This slams the ball to right field. Way back. Way gone. Is Toronto Blue Jays baseball. Low rounding and heading for second. The throw. In time. On the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Justin Turner's 4 RBIs provided some major juice for the Blue Jays in a 9-2 win yesterday at Tropicana Field. Now it's time for Minute Maid Park and the 2022 World Series champion Houston Astros, who come into this game tonight winless in 2024. Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this series opener. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Our host and producer today is Show Ali, and Tom Young is our technical director. Toronto Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Winnipeg and Winkler, Manitoba. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. It's a night of firsts. Right-hander Bowden Francis makes his first start in the major leagues, trying to shut down the Astros, who are still searching for their first win after a 4-game sweep at the hands of the Yankees. Ronel Blanco gets the start on the other side for Houston when we come back. You're listening to Blue Jays baseball streaming on the Sportsnet app, sportsnet.ca, and across the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center. A solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
Everyone dreams of owning their own personal slice of heaven. Now you can, thanks to Fixed Rate Pizza by Pizza Pizza. Until the end of 2024, lock into an extra-large 4-topping pizza at a fixed price of $17.99. No matter how bad food prices get this year, your pizza price stays. So why not say no to surge pricing and yes to fixed-rate pizza? Order now from Pizza Pizza.
Go to pizzapizza.ca.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's building center. Visit timbermart.ca.
They are among the greatest to ever play their sports.
Caitlin Clark is the all-time scoring leader.
They are legends and icons.
Larry Bird hit the shot with 2 seconds left. I don't know how he did it.
And you can hear them right now on the all-new SiriusXM app.
We are here with Iowa superstar Caitlin Clark.
I'm so focused on winning. It's never anything I ever take for granted.
Here comes Larry Bird, the Hall of Famer, and he just won Legend of the Year.
Legend of the Year, isn't that something?
For access to the game's greats, rely on the leader in sports audio, SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
24/7, 365. Coverage of all things NASCAR. All things NASCAR happens exclusively on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90.
Turner takes the 0-2 pitch out to left field. Rosarino watches it go. Home run, Justin Turner. He's driven in 4 runs for the Blue Jays today.
I mean, I think he keeps himself pretty level-headed in those moments. You know, I know he said that, whether it's runners in scoring position or postseason, whatever it may be. But it's just having an approach and sticking to it, you know. A lot of times in those spots, guys get a little bit too big or whatever. You know, you can see what he's trying to do every single time.
Blue Jays coach Victor Martinez called him an RBI machine when Turner was talking to the media after the game. His 4 RBIs, a big part of the Blue Jays' 9-2 win yesterday. Turner hoping to be a big factor again today and help out a young starting pitcher for the Blue Jays. Welcome back to Toronto Blue Jays baseball. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. And Chris, we get to see Bowden Francis as a starter for the first time in a Blue Jays uniform.
Well, the day has come. Bowden Francis is making his first ever Major League start. And I've been waiting for this since last year when he was called up. I was really, really impressed with everything that he did. Obviously, he had the good numbers. We can look at a box score and see that he had a 1.73 ERA and 36 1/3 innings, all that good stuff. But I love the makeup. I love the stuff. And I love that he's added a split finger. If you're going to be a big league starter, you can't just rely on a curveball and a fastball. You have to have something that breaks arm side, and that split finger I can almost guarantee will be perfect for him.
We're going to look out for that split finger. Francis finishing up his bullpen right now, and before he gets on the mound, the Astros will come out and pitch first. And before that, let's go to baseball control. Here's Show Ali.
Thank you very much, guys. Good evening, everyone. Hope you are all doing well. I think I heard some E.T. in the background there at Minute Maid Park. Before we check out the standings update, courtesy of Bet365, let's hear from Blair and Barker. They spoke to Houston Astros TV analyst Jeff Blum. Barker starts us off here. The Astros got themselves swept by the Yankees to start 2024. Let's hear Jeff Blum's thoughts.
I can't believe I'm going to ask this, but I'm going to anyway. What concerns you more, that the Astros only hit 2 home runs in 4 games, or the pen ERA in 4 games was almost 7?
I'm going to go with the bullpen just because Ryan Presley's going to be learning a new role. Now, you know, the next couple of days against the Blue Jays, he may be used as a closer because I just said Hader had been used 3 out of 4 days. Just give him a night, a little bit of a breather. But it's getting from the starting rotation that's been reasonably good to start the season and getting to that back end of the bullpen is where the issue is, because the Astros lost Ryan Stanek, Phil Maton, and Hector Neris. Those guys were all three very reliable, very successful, and very competitive pitchers who could get guys out on both sides of the plate. And you've replaced them with Taylor Scott, Seth Martinez, and Brandon Bielak, Rafael Montero. So it wasn't really a lateral move. You didn't really replace those guys with the same quality. So I think that's where Joe Espada, the new manager of the Astros, is going to kind of have to, do a good job of trying to find pockets to make those guys successful. But that's really been the biggest issue for me, is how are you going to get from the starting rotation to those big boys at the back end of the bullpen with a lead and maintain that lead?
That is Jeff Blum, Houston Astros TV analyst, on with Blair and Barker. You can catch the full conversation wherever you find your favorite podcast. Before we get started, let's check out that Bet365 standings update. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly, Ontario only. In the AL East, the Yankees off to a 4-0 start to the year after sweeping these very Astros. The Orioles, they are 2-1. The Red Sox, Rays, and Blue Jays all 2-2 after opening weekend. And don't forget, we do have Jays Talk today. I mentioned Blair and Barker. The guys have the post-game show all week long. They will take your calls after the final out of this one. All right, first pitch right around the corner. Let's get you to the action. Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue have the call of Blue Jays Astros.
Thank you very much, Joe. Ronel Blanco about to come out for Houston, and with him stepping on the mound, Chris, who's in the lineup on both sides today?
Well, let's look at the lineup for your 2-2 Toronto Blue Jays. Leading off and playing right field is George Springer. At first base is Vlad Jr. He'll bat second. Justin Turner, who was 3 for 4 last night with a homer, he'll DH and bat third. Dalton Varsho will bat fourth and play left field. Alejandro Kirk is catching. He'll bat fifth. Ernie Clement, who's still filling in for Bo at short, he'll bat sixth. Kevin Kiermaier, he'll bat seventh and play center field. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa was 2 for 3 last night. He'll play third base and bat eighth. Kevin Biggio, he'll play second base and bat ninth. And Bowden Francis makes his first ever big league start. He was 1-0 with a 1.73 ERA last year in just 36 and a third innings. And for your 0-4 Astros, playing second base and leading off is Jose Altuve. Yordan Alvarez, he'll DH and bat second. And Kyle Tucker is in right field. He'll bat third. Alex Bregman will play third base and clean up. Yainer Diaz will catch. He'll bat fifth. Jose Abreu is at first base. He'll bat sixth. Chas McCormick, he's in left field and bats seventh. Jeremy Pena, he's at shortstop and batting eighth. And Jake Myers is in center field. He'll bat ninth. And Ronel Blanco, who was 2-1 with a 4.50 ERA in 7 starts, will start on the mound for the Houston Astros.
Blanco, a guy who pitched 17 games last year, 7 of them starts, just over 50 innings of work. Came in when they needed a little bit of help with some injuries in the middle of the season and made a string of starts in June. From June 1 to July 6, made 6 starts and was solid for the Astros. And they have a lot of injuries again right now, does Houston. Most notably, Justin Verlander is on the injured list right now, although he is progressing toward a rehab appearance. Luis Garcia on the injured list for them right now. They have Jose Urquidy, Lance McCullers also on the injured list. Really a full rotation on the IL. But you mentioned the Astros 0-4, which is a shocking start for them, a team who won their division last year and won the World Series 2 years ago. And it's really actually come down to the bullpen rather than the starters on why they've had such a tough start to the year.
Yeah, all 4 losses, the bullpen gave up late runs. And that's not something that was expected, obviously, with the offseason addition of Josh Hader. He is by far the best closer in baseball. And it's early. We talk about that all the time. We don't expect the Houston Astros to be
0-162.
0-162. As a matter of fact, they're probably coming into this game very, very hungry, and Bowden Francis will have to be on tonight if he's expected to have a nice game.
Yeah, you heard it from Blair and Barker talking to Jeff Blum, too, but the offense didn't do a ton for the Astros in the first couple games. Only 2 home runs is pretty atypical for them. Yordan Alvarez had a couple near misses yesterday as they fell 4-3 on Juan Soto's go-ahead hit in the 9th inning. George Springer, the longtime Astro, steps into the box and says hi to Yainer Diaz, the catcher. He'll back out right now. They're a little bit ahead of schedule, I guess. Technically behind it in the fact that we're a minute behind scheduled first pitch. But home plate umpire Charlie Ramos is about to step behind the plate. It'll be Chad Fairchild at first, Carlos Torres umping second, Trip Gibson at third. The right-hander Blanco taking a couple deep breaths in the middle of the rubber, steps to his left, kicks up his knee and fires and misses high for ball one. Time of the first pitch is 8:11 Eastern, 7:11 local. The 1-0 down and away, 2-0. And the roof closed today in Houston. No real weather concern in Houston, but the roof is shut right now at Minute Maid Park. 2-0 pitch to Springer. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Yeah, a lot of the time in April, actually in Houston, you'll see the roof open because for the most part in the summertime, it's so hot there that they have to close the roof.
2-1 is inside. 3 balls and 1 strike. For Ronel Blanco, it's a slider, a four-seamer, a changeup, and a sparingly used curveball. Slider leads the way. His 3-1 pitch is that slider down and away, ball 4. Springer takes a 5-pitch walk to start it off for the Blue Jays. This first inning is brought to you by Armstrong Bird Food. Bring nature to your backyard with Armstrong, feeding Blue Jays since 1986. Walks were a bit of a concern for Blanco last season. Walked 28 guys in 52 innings. His pitch to Vlad Guerrero. Called strike 1. Guerrero coming off a season in which he hit .264, 26 homers, batting .308 through 4 games this year. The 0-1 in the dirt.
You can see just how confident he is. His approach is clearly different. We talked about that in spring training. He's not swinging at those pitches on the outer third of the plate. He's waiting for his pitch early on in counts. And even early in this series and in this at-bat, he's not swinging at Blanco's pitches.
1-1 is fouled off. That was a changeup middle in, and now it's 1-2. That patient approach has allowed Vladdy to walk 5 times so far this year, which leads the American League so far. Down in the count with a runner on first and nobody out. No score, top of the first. Blanco from the stretch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Vladdy chased the low changeup, and there's 1 down.
And that was actually a really tough changeup from Blanco. It started in the strike zone and kind of broke down, almost hit the dirt. Almost like a Trevor Richards type split change. I don't know if he holds it like a split, but it looked like it had that action to it.
We'll see how much he uses that changeup. Here's the first pitch to Turner. It's outside, ball 1. He started the year last year for the Astros as a reliever where he was just a fastball slider guy. Got sent down in May, stretched out in AAA as a starter, came back with a changeup and a curveball. The 1-0. Swing and a miss on the slider, 1-1. So while he only used that changeup about 9% of the time last year, that's a little deceiving because a large portion of the year he didn't need it coming out of the pen. 1-1 to Turner. Called high. That looked to be in the zone. It's 2-1.
And he actually threw his slider more often than he threw his fastball, which is, of course, weird for a starter, but he was a reliever for a lot of the year.
A 30-year-old pitching in his 3rd major league season. His offering is low ball 3. Diaz walking out in front of the plate right now. The young catcher for the Astros kind of pressing both hands down, trying to indicate Blanco to cool it down, calm down. This is Blanco's first start of the year. Springer on first after a leadoff walk, 1 out, and the 3-1 pitch coming to Justin Turner. Swing and a miss. Beat him with a slider to make it a full count.
And you can see just how confident he is with that slider. 3-1 count. He throws that slider to a good hitter in Justin Turner. A lot of confidence in that pitch.
Turner with 96 driven in last year, knocked in 4 yesterday. The 3-2. Hit hard on the ground to the left side, picked up at third by Bregman, over to Altuve for one, back to first, it's dropped by Abreu. That should have been an inning-ending 5-4-3 double play, but instead it'll be a fielder's choice for Turner. You can't assume a double play, so no error. And the inning continues.
And that is a ball that probably caught 99 times out of 100. That ball didn't even hit the ground, and Abreu kind of just clunks it out of his glove.
It was almost like he assumed it was going to go down to the ground. He kind of put his glove below where the ball was. Here's Dalton Varsho, the pitch. High, ball 1. Pitch clock violation on Blanco, although he missed high with the pitch anyway, so it's a wash. Dalton Varsho is ahead 1 ball and no strikes. Runner on first, 2 down in the top of the first. The 1-0. Popped up behind the plate. Diaz getting rid of the mask. It goes into the seats. Astros have a pretty good defense behind their pitcher, Ronel Blanco. It's Yainer Diaz catching with Jose Abreu at first. Jose Altuve plays second. And the 2022 Gold Glover, Jeremy Pena at short. Alex Bregman at third. Chas McCormick in left with Jake Myers in center. And Kyle Tucker in right. The pitch to Varsho. Takes a fastball high. It's 2-1.
Yeah, he takes that tough fastball up in the zone. We know that's not his pitch. That fastball that's a little bit above the belt, and you could tell he flinched on that pitch and almost swung at it, but laid off.
2-1. Varsho lifts the ball foul to the right side. 2 balls and 2 strikes now against Dalton Varsho. Has walked 3 times already this year, but in a limited sample hitting just 143 so far. Blanco waves off the sign. Now he's got what he wants, and he's set. Runner on first, 2 down. The 2-2. Called strike 3. Change up on the inside edge. Freezes Varsho and ends the inning. After the leadoff walk, 2 strikeouts help Ronel Blanco strand the runner. And it's 0-0, middle of the first. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Everyone dreams of owning their own personal slice of heaven. Now you can, thanks to Fixed Rate Pizza by Pizza Pizza. Until the end of 2024, lock into an extra-large 4-topping pizza at a fixed price of $17.99. No matter how bad food prices get this year, your pizza price stays. So why not say no to surge pricing and yes to Fixed Rate Pizza? Order now from Pizza Pizza.
Order pizzapizza.ca. The Blue Jays are inviting you to work from Dome. Put it in your calendar. 307 weekday starts this season. You can work from Dome with friends or coworkers at Rogers Center. It's a game changer. Make the ballpark your office for the afternoon. Work from Dome, 307 weekday starts. Let's touch base. Check out ticket options on BlueJays.com/workfromdome.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit ConnexOntario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball cracked to center field, to the wall, to the track. It's gone.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. No score, Blue Jays and Astros, bottom of the first inning. Bowden Francis is about to throw the first pitch of his first major league start. The tall right-hander with long blonde hair is digging some dirt around with his right foot and now is standing up tall, ready to face Jose Altuve. Here's his pitch. It's lashed to left field and down, bouncing toward the corner past Varsho, who barehands it off the wall, tosses to first, and with the short Crawford boxes there, Varsho holds Altuve to a ringing single.
And Jose Altuve is so good at ambushing pitchers. Of course, Bowden knows this, but it's so hard to throw anything off speed the first pitch of the game, and Bowden just throws that 95-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone, and Jose Altuve, just like I said, so good at ambushing early in games.
And a quick guy can be a threat on the base paths, too. Here's the most dangerous Astros hitter, Yordan Alvarez, batting from the left side. The righty Francis kicks and delivers. Missed outside, ball one. Alvarez coming off a season in which he had to spend some time on the IL and still hit 31 homers, 97 driven in with a .293 average. The 1-0. Rounded foul, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Francis, you'll see the fastball, the curveball, the slider, and the splitter.
And he holds that splitter even before he gets set because it's hard to stick that ball in between those fingers. He doesn't want the hitter to see what he's throwing.
The 1-1. Breaking ball fouled off. Back-to-back curveballs make it 1-2. You had said it in the pregame, but the main reason, if you weren't with us, that he wants the splitter is to have something that moves to the arm side away from left-handed hitters like Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah, it's so important, especially if you want to go 6-7 innings as a starter. As a reliever, you can live on 2 pitches, but as a starter, you have to have at least 3 pitches.
1-2. Fastball fouled off. Like you said, it is interesting. So he really clearly sets a splitter grip. Everyone can see it before he tucks the ball into his glove. And then he adjusts, if he has to other pitches like he did there with the fastball.
And if he's going to throw a splitter, he kind of just fakes like he's moving his hand around.
The 1-2. Fastball cut on and miss. Strike 3. Beat Alvarez with a good heater there for the first out.
And although Alvarez is 2 for 17, he is still one of the best hitters in the big leagues. So for Bowden to get his first strikeout of 2024 on such a good hitter, that's gotta pump him up.
Yeah, I mean, that's still an MVP candidate for this year. Here's another really tough left-handed hitter. It's Kyle Tucker stepping into the box with a runner on first and 1 out. The pitch. Swing and a miss on that same fastball, 0-1. Tucker led the American League in RBIs last year with 112. Hit 29 homers, batted in the 280s. He's going to be one of the most sought-after free agents after this year. The 0-1 is hit well to left field. Varsho going back, turns around. That ball's into the Crawford boxes. 2-run homer, Kyle Tucker, and the Astros jump out to an early lead.
And again, this Houston Astros lineup, although they are 0-4, although they have been struggling, they are still the Houston Astros. They still have a ton of power. They have a bunch of run producers, so you can't just keep throwing elevated fastballs. He threw 2 elevated fastballs in a row to Tucker, and Tucker, with that short porch in left field, kind of just sticks the bat out. Doesn't really have to do too much, especially since that fastball was 96 elevated. Tough start for Bowden, but he just needs to mix his pitches.
First pitch to Alex Bregman, a right-handed hitter, is outside 1-0. 2-0 Houston after the Tucker homer. Bases empty, 1 out in the bottom of the first. The pitch. Slider for strike 1. You mentioned that short porch, pretty unique here in Houston. 315 down the line to the Crawford boxes. It gets out to 362 in left center. The 1-1. Swing and a miss on a slow curveball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And that's how you have to pitch these guys. You have to mix in the slow curveball. You have to mix in the fastball in, the split finger. 2 elevated fastballs to Kyle Tucker. That is asking for something bad to happen.
It's Tucker's first homer of the year. Here's the 3-2. Swing and a miss on another curve. And Bregman goes down for the second out. To finish off the dimension, so 315 to the Crawford boxes. Then it quickly becomes 362 in left center. It's about 400 feet in straightaway center field, 404. Deepest part of the yard's actually a little bit toward right center. It's 409, 373 in right center, and 326 down the right field line. Catcher Yainer Diaz is up with 2 outs. The right-hander Francis into the wind. Here's his pitch. Fouled off, 0-1.
And although he did give up that 2-run homer, he has looked good.
What do you like from it so far?
He has looked sharp. His fastball is 95, 96. I like that, although there's not much movement on it. That's why he needs that extra pitch, because he doesn't have much sink to that fastball.
Breaking ball got away from him, and Diaz runs out of the way of it. It's 1-1.
But other than those 2 elevated fastballs to Kyle Tucker, he's been really locating his pitches.
2-0 Astros, 2 outs and the base is empty. Here's the 1-1 offering. Hit high and deep to left again, and that one will get out of here. A second home run of the inning. 3-0 for Houston.
And again, another elevated fastball. He missed his spot. That wasn't an elevated fastball on purpose. He threw that fastball between the belt and the letters, and Diaz did not miss it. 435 feet to left field.
He's a guy with a lot of power, 23 homers in just over 100 games last year. That pitch was out of the zone. It was a ball, but Diaz reached up for it and hit it way out of there in left field. The pitch to Jose Abreu, called strike 1. So 2 home runs have made it 3-0 for Houston in the bottom of the first. Still only 15 pitches thrown for Bowden Francis as he faces his 6th batter, the 0-1. Hit to the right side, foul, 0-2. Jose Abreu is the first baseman, still looking for his first hit of the year. Dealing with some hand soreness, was hit by a pitch in the hand recently. Swings and misses at the 0-2, and he goes down to end the inning. So Francis strikes out 3, but gives up 3 runs as well. The homers to Tucker and Diaz have the Astros on top 3-0 at the end of the first. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Hey, feeling good.
Need a dose of sunshine?
Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Or a serotonin boost? Happy Radio is one of many happy extra channels available on the all-new SiriusXM app. Search Happy Radio to start listening to endless feel-good hits.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
It's a home run for Ronald Acuna.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy basketball to getting you ready for the NFL Draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
How you manage your team day in and day out will be the difference in where you finish in 2024.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Wake up! Wake up, everybody! This is Steve Phillips from the leadoff spot on MLB Network Radio. Join me and former Major League Baseball players Eduardo Perez and Xavier Scruggs as we react to all the latest news and scores across baseball and have plenty of fun along the way.
Steve, you were so right about that.
I don't know if anybody else thinks we're funny, but I think we're funny.
Why are you putting us or we into this?
The leadoff spot, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, Channel 89, and on the SiriusXM app.
Hi, this is Mike Tirico. Masters Radio returns Monday, April 8th on Channel 92 in the car and on the SiriusXM app.
That Radio Network.
The second inning is presented by Bet365. At Bet365, you can bet live in-game on props, totals, and the money line. Download the app and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus, play responsibly. Ontario only. First pitch to Alejandro Kirk is called strike 1, and we're underway in the second. 3-0 Houston over Toronto. 2 home runs, one by Tucker, one by Diaz, have opened up the scoring for the Astros. Kirk swings at the second pitch and rolls it softly to second. Altuve picks it up and throws over to first. And there's one out. I'm Ben Schulman. To my left is Chris LaRue. Ernie Clement is coming up with Ronel Blanco, the starter for Houston, in his second inning of work. Clement 3 for 9 to start the year. He bats from the right side, making a start at short for the second straight day. First pitch is called strike one. Ernie hunched over in his stance, takes the next pitch, and it's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the 1-1. Outside again, 2-1. Blue batting gloves for Clement. Grip a two-tone bat, black on the handle, light colored on the barrel. The next offering. Hit softly to short, picked up by Pena. Easy throw over to first. There were 2 outs.
Yeah, and there's that good changeup again from Blanco. Starts it in the strike zone and it breaks out almost on the dirt. These Blue Jays are going to have to either lay off of it or just do a better job. When a guy has a pitch like that, you kind of just tip your cap and you look for a fastball instead of swinging at the changeup.
Kevin Kiermaier batting now with 2 outs and the bases empty. He takes the first pitch outside, 1-0. Left-handed hitting Kiermaier's 1 for 9 so far. The 1-0. Ball 2. Infield shifted to the pull side, but the third baseman, Alex Bregman, is playing in for the bunt. 2-0 is chased after a swing and a miss by Kiermaier, who looks upset after offering at that pitch. It's 2-1. There's a changeup below the knees. Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss at another change. It's 2-2. Blanco working really quickly here in the second inning. 1 more strike will finish off the top of the second. Here's his pitch. Grounded foul. Kiermaier stays alive.
And Blanco only threw that changeup 9% of the time last year. He's already thrown a bunch here today. So obviously the reliever starter difference is a big thing for him.
2-2 fastball lands outside, full count. I mean, kind of like Francis, he didn't have an arm side run pitch before implementing the changeup as a starter last year. He waves off the sign twice. Now he has what he wants. The 3-2. Kiermaier hits a chopper to second. Altuve gobbles it up, throws to first, beats Kiermaier by a step and a half to end the inning. 3 groundouts retire the Blue Jays in the top of the second. It's 3-0 Houston as we go to the bottom half. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
From the kitchen to your table, TSC is serving up spring. Awaken your inner chef with up to 35% off top shelf kitchenware. Put a twist on old recipes or take a stab at something new. Light snacks, hearty meals, scrumptious desserts. TSC has brands you're craving: KitchenAid, Vitamix, Curtis Stone, and more to help you savor the season right down to the last bite. Shop now at tsc.ca. Exciting offers every day.
At our core, who are we? The sum of our parts? Nah, we're more than that. There's nobody like us. At our core, we are built to win. Relentless in our pursuit of greatness. Who are we? Blue Jays to the core.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Fastball hit to center field. Varsho with a dive, and he makes the catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Bottom of the second inning, Blue Jays in Houston down 3-0 to the Astros. Bowden Francis back on the rubber. His pitch to Chas McCormick. It's called strike one. McCormick, the left fielder for the Astros, coming off a breakout season. Bats from the right side. The 0-1. Sharp ground ball foul, 0-2.
And that right there was Bowden Francis's first fastball to the inside part of the plate. He's been consistently throwing that fastball away. And to this Houston Astros lineup, if they know that fastball is coming and it's always outside, they'll do damage.
0-2 is a breaking ball popped up third base side of the infield. Kiner Falefa just in front of the grass makes the catch. One down. Jays Cares Girls at Bat program removes barriers to get more girls off the sidelines and into the game. When you buy a 50-50 ticket, you're supporting Baseball for Development programming for young girls in your community. Plus, you could take home the life-changing jackpot, which is already over $476,000. If you're in Ontario or Nova Scotia, head to bluejays.com/5050 to get your tickets. The pitch to Jeremy Pena is hit high and deep to left field. Varsho's going back, and Pena has left the yard. 4-0 Astros. First home run of the season for the shortstop, Jeremy Pena, and the Astros have gone yard 3 times already today.
Well, we knew coming into this game that this Astros team is going to be hungry. They're 0-4, and we knew this was going to be a tough matchup for Bowden. It's his first start. This Houston Astros team is very, very good, although they are 0-4. It's a good swing from Jeremy Pena, although that slider was right down the middle.
Yeah, it's a hanging slider there from Francis. Here's the first pitch to Jake Myers. Called strike. Francis got a favor on the outside edge. So 4-0 now for Houston. They've matched their run total in any game previously this year. 0-1 is a broken bat liner into left field for a base hit. Some tough luck there for Francis as he sawed off Myers, who had enough on it to get it over Ernie Clement.
Yeah, 96-mile-an-hour fastball in on the hands. And Myers shatters his bat and kind of just loops it over the shortstop there. He missed his spot, but that was actually an effective pitch. They need to start pitching in more.
Pete Walker's going to come out to the mound right now and talk to Francis. First major league start for Bowden Francis. Came into spring training certainly without a spot in the rotation solidified. Really didn't even know if he was going to be on the team or not. He had options. Some other guys he was competing with didn't. Not to mention the Blue Jays, at least it seemed, were favoring Alek Manoah for that 5th spot. But Manoah dealt with shoulder soreness after his first spring start. Has not pitched in a live game still to this point. Francis was dominant in the spring, had a 3.38 ERA and struck out 15 in 18 2/3 innings and really earned that 5th spot.
Yeah, he did. And look, it's not the end of the world. It's 4-0 early on. You settle down, you start throwing that split finger, you start throwing that fastball inside, and I guarantee he'll go 5.
Here's the pitch to Jose Altuve with 1 on and 1 out. Breaking ball misses outside. Through all the offensive success so far for Houston, still only 25 pitches thrown by Francis.
This team loves to ambush.
The 1-0. Called strike. Altuve's 1 for 1 today. Single to right field on the first pitch he saw. Came around to score on the Kyle Tucker homer. Next offering. Slider at the top of the zone. Strike 2. Altuve was coming off a season in which he only played 90 games for the Astros. Hit .311, 17 homers in 2023. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball inside. Last year was actually the World Baseball Classic that Altuve suffered an injury that really limited his season. Daniel Bard of the United States hit him in the right thumb with a high 90s fastball, broke his thumb. The 2-2. Hit hard on the ground at the shortstop. Clement flips over to second for 1, back to first. 6-4-3. inning-ending double play. Francis bounces back after the homer and the single and limits the damage in the second to just 1. It's 4-0 for the Astros as we go to the third inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Everyone dreams of owning their own personal slice of heaven. Now you can, thanks to Fixed Rate Pizza by Pizza Pizza. Until the end of 2024, lock into an extra large 4-topping pizza at a fixed price of $17.99. No matter how bad food prices get this year, your pizza price stays. So why not say no to surge pricing and yes to Fixed Rate Pizza? Order now from Pizza Pizza.
Order pizzapizza.ca.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com. At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting, because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365.
Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Hey, this is Chris Bassett. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa leads off the top of the third. 4-0 Houston as starter Ronel Blanco delivers the first pitch in the zone. Strike 1. The third inning is brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Winnipeg and Winkler, Manitoba. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection. Second pitch is lofted to left field. Going back and making the catch on the track is Chas McCormick. Good contact there from Kiner-Falefa, but he's retired for the first out.
Yeah, the Blue Jays have some work to do, but again, Ronel Blanco doesn't have much of a track record. He only made 7 starts last year. The bullpen is kind of beat up with that from that series with the Yankees. So if the Blue Jays can get one every inning, string together a couple hits here and there.
First pitch to Kevin Biggio, called strike 1.
They'll be in good shape.
He's Chris LaRue. I'm Ben Schulman. Biggio, the bottom of the order hitter today for the Blue Jays. The 0-1. Called strike 2. It's worth noting that in that first series, the Astros took an early 4-0 lead on the Yankees and gave it up and lost 5-4. Up 4-0 now, the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Beat him with a changeup. That's the third Blanco strikeout today. All 3 of them coming on changeups.
Yeah, clearly he's done something in the offseason and in spring training to figure out that changeup because it is nasty.
Blanco recomposing himself behind the rubber right now as George Springer comes to the plate. 2 outs, base is empty. 4-0 Astros, top of the third. The pitch. Springer lifts it to second. Altuve, his former teammate, makes a basket catch in shallow right field to end the inning. The Blue Jays go down incredibly quickly. Ronel Blanco does not throw a ball in that inning. In middle of the third, it's 4-0 Houston. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
They are among the greatest to ever play their sports.
Caitlin Clark is the all-time scoring leader.
They are legends and icons.
Larry Bird hit the shot with 2 seconds left. I don't know how he did it.
And you can hear them right now on the all-new SiriusXM app.
We are here with Iowa superstar Caitlin Clark.
I'm so focused on winning, it's never anything I ever take for granted.
Here comes Larry Bird, the Hall of Famer, and he just won Legend of the Year.
Legend of the Year, isn't that something? For access to the game's greats, rely on the leader in sports audio, SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Are you regretting eating that gas station hot dog? Yeah, we know. We've been there too.
This is a message for baseball fans like you. Did you know that you get a channel that's talking baseball 24/7 as part of your SiriusXM subscription?
What?
Our lineup includes shows hosted by former big leaguers and executives. Plus, you'll hear from 17 managers each week. MLB Network Radio is on SiriusXM Channel 89. Or just search MLB Network Radio on the SXM app. SiriusXM Sports. We're more than just a game.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on SiriusXM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new SiriusXM app.
You want baseball? The doggy has you covered. Tune in to Mad Dog Unleashed for the best baseball coverage anywhere. Weekdays 3 to 6 Eastern. SiriusXM Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82.
Radio Network.
Bottom of the third inning, Blue Jays at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Bowden Francis starts Yordan Alvarez with a strike to make it 0-1. 4-0 for the Astros. Francis trying to put together his first scoreless frame in his first Major League start. Righty into the wind. Here's the 0-1. It's another breaking ball, and it's outside for a ball, 1-1.
And I would love to see this split finger at some point. Just show me what it looks like. I have not seen it yet.
Chance we missed it, but I don't think he's thrown one. The 1-1. Fits the slider in there for strike 2. This would be the time to use it. Left-handed hitter up right now in Alvarez with a left-handed hitter behind him in Kyle Tucker.
Throw that thing in the dirt.
The 1-2. Breaking ball is lofted to deep right field. Springer on the run, stops in front of the track, makes the catch. 1 out.
And when you get a 1-2 count like that, you can't leave that curveball over the middle like he did right there. Yordan Alvarez just missed that thing. He might have got it off the end of the bat just a little bit, but that's part of the reason why Bowden's given up 4 runs so far is because he makes mistakes with 2 strikes.
That's been the story of the season for Alvarez so far, too. He had a couple 400 or 380-foot flyouts yesterday. Kyle Tucker homered in 2 runs in the first inning. Here's the pitch. Hit on the ground, foul, 0-1.
Was that it? I think that might have been the split.
I think you're right. I think that was the first split finger. That was a pitch at 88, which is it didn't have the slider movement. Too slow to be the fastball. So, yeah, that was, I believe, the splitter there for Francis. Here's the 0-1. Looked like that might have been another one. He missed high, 1-1.
All right, here we go.
Tucker steps out of the box and pops back in. The 1-1. Missed with a breaking ball. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. Home plate is home plans. Score the run with Timbermart.ca. Find a major league selection of winning plays for house, garage, and backyard sheds. Visit Timbermart.ca and win the game with Canada's Building Center. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. 1 out and the base is empty. The 2-1. Swing and a miss. Tucker down to a knee on that breaking ball. It's 2-2.
And I know it's scary to throw a fastball into a guy like Kyle Tucker, but you have to mix that in. You have to throw fastballs in to be effective.
The pitch. Bounce the breaking ball. Tucker lays off.
And that's the 3rd curveball Kyle Tucker has seen this at bat. So he's getting used to the spin of it, to the way it's moving.
And he's on the fastball. That was the pitch he hit out to left field in the first. Payoff on the way. Curveball fouled off. Tucker debuted with the Astros in 2018. This is the final season of his first deal. He will hit free agency for the first time this offseason. The 3-2 again. Down and in, ball 4. According to MLB.com's Brian McTaggart, who covers the Astros, he tweeted that Tucker will get an offer, but right now he and the Astros not in deep discussions. And The Athletic does kind of projections for the following offseason. They projected Tucker to be a guy who could rein in $200 million over 8 years. Here's Alex Bregman, another soon-to-be free agent. Pitch to Bregman. High ball 1.
$200 million over 8 years. That seems low, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know, relative age potentially. Obviously, we saw such an odd free agency play out this year that I think they tempered down some of their estimates from previous years. The 1-0. Called strike 1.
He would be a $30 million plus guy, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not the guy that gives out the offers, but from what other guys are getting, I think $30 million seems about right.
200 for 8 is 25 a year. The 1-1. Called strike 2. I mean, if that's where the market is, I would guess that there will be a lot of suitors for Kyle Tucker. And the Astros are not afraid to let guys walk. You have to look no further than the right fielder for the Toronto Blue Jays, George Springer, or Carlos Correa, of course. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strikes out Tucker for the second time today, both on curveballs. And there are 2 down with Tucker on first.
That was Bowden's best curveball of the day. It was sharp, good velocity. Clearly Alex Bregman was fooled by it. Way out in front.
Can Bowden put a 0 up on the board here? He has to deal with hard-hitting Yainer Diaz, the catcher. Right on right pitch. Missed low for ball 1. Diaz, being the starting catcher, is an example of the Astros letting someone walk. Martin Maldonado was let go after this season, or last season. The 1-0. Grounded softly to third. Kiner Falefa ranging towards second. Will throw it over to the second base bag and end the inning on that fielder's choice ground out. Bowden Francis strands the walk, puts his first 0 up on the board in his first major league start. It's still 4-0 Astros headed to the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
They are among the greatest to ever play their sports.
Caitlin Clark is the all-time scoring leader.
They are legends and icons.
Larry Bird hit the shot with 2 seconds left. I don't know how he did it.
And you can hear them right now on the all-new SiriusXM app.
We are here with Iowa superstar Caitlin Clark.
I'm so focused on winning, it's never anything I ever take for granted.
Here comes Larry Bird, the Hall of Famer, and he just won Legend of the Year.
Legend of the Year, isn't that something? For access to the game's greats, rely on the leader in sports audio, SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
This is CJ Nikowski. Join me, Ryan Spilborghs, and Brad Lidge every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern as we give you the player's perspective of what's happening in baseball.
He is possessed every time he goes out there right now. This is crazy.
There's this energy that certain players bring.
It's Loud Outs every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM, Channel 89, and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Busted Open podcast is now available on YouTube. This is Dave LaGreca, host of Busted Open, the #1 pro wrestling show on the planet. You can now watch and listen to the award-winning Busted Open podcast every single day on YouTube. Our best interviews, behind-the-scenes access, and some of our best content from the past. All available right now when you go to youtube.com/@BustedOpenPodcast. Subscribe right now.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win whichever fantasy sport you play. Right now on Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
The top of the 4th inning is presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app for today's baseball odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19 plus. Play responsibly. Ontario only. Ronel Blanco, the right-handed starter for the Astros, finishes up his warm-up pitches, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is striding into the box. It's 4-0 right now for the Houston Astros over the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Guerrero 0 for 1 with a strikeout swinging back in the first. First pitch of the 4th. High ball 1. It's Guerrero, then Justin Turner, then Dalton Varsho. Here's the 1-0. Fouled straight back to make it 1-1. Blanco's shaking off multiple signs. Here's his 41st pitch of the night. And Vladdy fouls it off hard to the right side, 1-2. Take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard after this Guerrero plate appearance. Vladdy 1 for 4 career against Blanco. 1-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Drop the changeup on the outside edge. There's one down.
It's a rare right-on-right changeup. I'm sure Vlad doesn't see many of those, and Blanco just dumps it right on the outside part of the plate. Really, really good pitch.
4 strikeouts already for the right-handed starter. Here comes Justin Turner with 1 out and the bases empty. Blue Jays still looking for their first hit of the night. The pitch. Called strike 1. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by St. Louis Bar & Grill. Devilishly good since Toronto first raised the trophy in '92. Join them for wings, ribs, beer, cocktails, and catch every play at your local St. Louis Bar & Grill. Download the app or visit stlouiswings.com for more details. Always devilishly good. Turner with a swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. We'll get to plenty of baseball scores tonight, but a lot of people in the Toronto area potentially keeping an eye on the hockey game right now. The Maple Leafs hosting the Panthers. Here's the 0-2 to noted hockey fan Justin Turner, and he takes outside for ball 1. The Maple Leafs up 5-1 over Florida at the end of 2 periods. Austin Matthews has scored his 61st goal of the season to set a new Maple Leafs single season record. Swing and a miss on the 1-2. It's foul tipped into the glove by Turner. Strike 3. Matthews beating his own record from 2 years ago. And if the Leafs win in regulation, this according to ESPN, the Red Wings lose to Tampa Bay in regulation, and any result from Philadelphia and the Islanders, except an Islanders win in overtime, then the Leafs will clinch the playoffs tonight. Likely to clinch in the next couple days anyway, but a couple things could go right tonight. Dalton Varsho swings and fouls back the first pitch, 0-1. Our out-of-town score is brought to you by St. Louis Bar & Grill.
That was a lot of ifs, Ben.
It's a lot of ifs. More easily, if they win tonight and then win another game coming up, then they'll make it in. 2 out, space is empty, 0-1 to Varsho. High, 1-1.
I guess the question is Matthews going to score 70 goals?
It would be tough, but is possible. The Blue Jays are playing in their Maple Leafs in their 72nd game of the season as Varsho takes strike 2 to make it 1-2. So, I mean, can he score 9 more in the next 10 games? He can. He's gone on runs like that before. The 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Blanco strikes out the side. He has raced through 4 innings, and the Astros are up 4-0, middle of the 4th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Which Looney Dogger are you? The Fork and Knifer, Splatterer, Condiment Queen, or Big Dipper? This season at Rogers Center, every Tuesday home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. You will have the opportunity to purchase $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around the stadium. Then show the world your Looney Dog style. Because whether you're the mustard maven or ketchup king, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. So don't miss out on this deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's, every Tuesday home game.
Everyone dreams of owning their own personal slice of heaven. Now you can, thanks to Fixed Rate Pizza by Pizza Pizza. Until the end of 2024, lock into an extra large 4-topping pizza at a fixed price of $17.99. No matter how bad food prices get this year, your pizza price stays. So why not say no to surge pricing and yes to Fixed Rate Pizza? Order now from Pizza Pizza.
Order pizzapizza.ca.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we introduced in-game betting. Because when the game starts, the action doesn't stop. With in-game betting, you can wager on game props, player props, totals, and the money line. And remember, in-game, you can track your same-day parlay with the option to cash out. Check out in-game betting and find out why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 years or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Vladdy rocks the ball to left field.
The Blue Jays have gone back-to-back.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timbermark broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Bottom of the fourth inning, Blue Jays in Houston, trailing 4-0 to the Astros. Bowden Francis back on the rubber, deals with Jose Abreu to start this inning. First pitch, and the right-handed hitter sends it foul the opposite way. 0-1. What the Astros will get out of Jose Abreu this year is interesting. Before last year, when he joined Houston, he was about as consistent as anyone. The 0-1. Grounded to short, picked up by Clement. He'll toss over to first, one down. I mean, we did some talking last couple days, Chris. Most underrated players. For many years, I think Jose Abreu would have been near or at the top of that list. This was the 2020 MVP, a three-time Silver Slugger, a guy who's twice led the American League in slugging and in RBIs. But last year, he was well below league average in pretty much every offensive stat. Here's the pitch to Chas McCormick. Swing and a miss, strike one.
And you have to wonder if it's because he's 37 years old. He's 36 last year, of course, 37 this year. Eventually, Father Time gets you.
Here's the 0-1. McCormick rips it to left. It's a fair ball bouncing into the corner. He makes the turnaround first. Varsho's throw coming to second. Not in time. Just beats it. McCormick with the slide. And that's a double with one out.
And Varsho does such a good job yet again in left field, getting that ball kind of off the short porch out there and making a perfect throw to second base, almost getting McCormick.
That ball tight-roped the foul line, just stayed inside of it. And McCormick was ready for extra bases the whole way. Really hit an extra gear, though, after he rounded first. So a runner on second, one out. Jeremy Pena's up, who homered back in the second. The pitch. Fouled back, 0-1. Just to finish up on Abreu, he's interesting because he came over to the majors when he was 27. I've been a great player in Cuba, so he's been great the whole time, but he was kind of in his prime for most of his career. Here's the 0-1. Pena grounds it to third. Kiner Falefa looks back. The runner throws on to first. There are two outs.
Well, speaking of late signs, Houston Astros starter Ronald Blanco, he signed when he was 22 years old out of the Dominican Republic, and that's about 6 years late for most guys. So for him to even be desirable enough at 22, most teams look at you, they don't look at your stuff at 22. If you haven't been signed yet, they wonder why, and they kind of move on to the next guy. If you're 22 years old and you still haven't been signed, what's the reason? If I'm the GM.
The pitch to Jake Myers bounced 1-0. The Astros, though, scout, draft, develop about as good as anyone. They have 22 homegrown players on their 40-man roster. Compare that to the Blue Jays. You're looking at 15 players that are homegrown for Toronto on the 40-man.
And a scout actually saw Blanco when he was scouting Julio Rodriguez.
1-0 pitch is roped to left field. Varsho on the run. That's off the Crawford box wall. Varsho throwing into second base, and the run will come in to score, but Myers stops at first. McCormick coming in on that long RBI single. It's now 5-0 Houston.
And again, Bowden just leaves a fastball up belt high, and Myers kind of just jumps on it. That actually was inside. It was a 93 miles an hour in on his hands. Myers gets the head out and hits it off the wall in left field.
So the top of the order back up with a run in now here in the fourth. A runner on first and two outs. Francis from the stretch pitches to Jose Altuve. Strike one. When you talk about Astros scouting, you talk about homegrown players, you can look no further than Jose Altuve, one of the great Houston Astros of all time. Re-upped for 5 more years and $125 million this year. He takes strike two. by far the longest tenured Astro. Came up in 2011 when they were a team routinely losing 100 to 110 games. We're in the National League Central with you, Chris. The 0-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. Altuve falls down on the swing and strikes out to end the inning, but 2 base hits, plate a 5th run for the Astros. They lead 5-0 as we head to the 5th inning. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Comedy Central Radio brings you the biggest names in comedy. All day long, you'll hear the best stand-up comedy from Comedy Central's massive library.
Do you ever ask an adult what they did over the weekend and they say they didn't do anything? Their faces light up.
Every weeknight, you'll hear 2 half-hours of comedy for your drive home.
The other day, I got jealous of a dog's thigh gap. I'm not proud of that.
Comedy Central Radio, SiriusXM 95. Your home for incredible stand-up comedy. Search comedy on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win your fantasy leagues right now on Channel 87.
It's a home run for Ronald Acuna.
From in-season fantasy baseball management to daily fantasy basketball to getting you ready for the NFL Draft, Fantasy Sports Radio is here to help you dominate.
How you manage your team day in and day out will be the difference in where you finish in 2024.
Fantasy Sports Radio, your home for fantasy sports. Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
March Madness is finally here. For the best analysis.
That team is going to be a tough out.
And coverage of the ACC teams and the NCAA tournament. Tune into SiriusXM ACC Radio. From the title contenders to the Cinderella teams, we've got you covered through the National Championship in Phoenix.
Holy smokes, what a play by R.J. Davis.
It's all on SiriusXM ACC Radio, Channel 371, and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you win whichever fantasy sport you play. Right now on Channel 87 and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Radio Network.
Top of the 5th inning. Blue Jays trailing 5-0 to the Houston Astros. Still searching for their first hit. Alejandro Kirk leads off against right-hander Ronel Blanco. Pitcher into the wind. His offering is waved at and missed. Strike 1. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Take a look at the injury report this inning, brought to you by Bergmanis Priro Personal Injury Lawyers. The 0-1. Outside. If life has thrown you a curveball and you're striking out with your insurance company, get ahead of the count and call Bergmanis Priro Personal Injury Lawyers. You focus on getting better, and Bergmanis Priro will take care of the rest. Visit bplawyers.ca. 1-1. A swing and a miss from Kirk. It's 1-2. A lot of developments for the Blue Jays with a handful of guys that they have missing from the roster right now. One of them is that Jordan Romano is scheduled to throw his first bullpen since being sidelined. That will go tomorrow. The 1-2. Chopper to third. On the backhand side, picked up by Bregman. He'll lob it over to first. 1 out. Eric Swanson threw his second side session or bullpen today, and it went well, according to John Schneider. We'll see if the next step for him is live action, whether that's in Florida or maybe a different level of the minor leagues for the Blue Jays. AAA Buffalo is underway with their season. With 1 down, the pitch to Ernie Clement. Check swing on a pitch low, appeal down to first, no swing, says Chad Fairchild. You have Alek Manoah set tomorrow to throw a 3-inning sim game. The 1-0. Hit hard but foul down the left field line.
And of course it takes a lot longer for a starter to come back from an injury than it would Jordan Romano or Eric Swanson. Those guys just get up to 15-20 pitches and they're ready to go.
I remember Kevin Gausman, when he was coming back, talking a lot too about the up downs being the toughest thing. 1-1, swing and a miss, 1-2. That being pitching 15-20 pitches, cooling off, and then coming back into a game and your arm heating back up. Relievers don't really have to worry about that, especially 1-inning guys most of the time, like Romano and Swanson. The 1-2. Clement slices it foul, and he'll remain at the plate.
And just a reminder, Blanco still has not given up a hit.
No. We're in the top of the 5th with 1 out and the bases empty. That Manoah sim game will be 3 innings. He'll target about 50 pitches. Danny Jansen will catch that sim game. And it'll be all Dunedin A-ball players at TD Ballpark. Full defense behind Manoa. The 1-2. Clement pops it up behind the plate. Diaz sheds his mask, runs over near the first base dugout, makes the catch on the backhand side. 2 down. Last update I got for you, Joey Votto started his defensive drills today. Votto has not done much high-intensity work since he stepped on a bat and rolled his ankle after hitting that home run in his first plate appearance. But hopefully that's a sign that Votto can get back into live game action at some level soon. 2 down, here's Kevin Kiermaier. The pitch. Called strike 1. Blue Jays baseball brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. 2 down, bases empty, top of the 5th, the 0-1. Kiermaier hits a ground ball to first. Abreu has it, flips back to Blanco covering. And that's another 1-2-3 inning for Ronel Blanco. He's faced 1 above the minimum through 5, and halfway through this game, it's all Astros, 5-0 Houston. You're listening to Blue Jays baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
They are among the greatest to ever play their sports.
Caitlin Clark is the all-time scoring leader.
They are legends and icons.
Larry Bird hit the shot with 2 seconds left. I don't know how he did it.
And you can hear them right now on the all-new SiriusXM app.
We are here with Iowa superstar Caitlin Clark.
I'm so focused on winning, it's never anything I ever take for granted.
Here comes Larry Bird, the Hall of Famer, and he just won Legend of the Year.
Legend of the Year, isn't that something?
For access to the game's greats, rely on the leader in sports audio, SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
The NASCAR Cup Series is on SiriusXM.
Let's go, baby!
We're back on the track Sunday,
2 p.m. Eastern.
It's the Cookout 400 from Martinsville Speedway.
Checker flag, baby. Yeah.
On SiriusXM NASCAR Radio Channel 90 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app. Get closer to everything that moves you wherever you are with the SiriusXM app.
Let's make some smoke and drink some beer. Yes!
The best amateur players in women's golf will compete in the Augusta National Women's Amateur.
Rose Zhang is your Augusta National Women's Amateur Champion.
SiriusXM is your exclusive home for this premier event in the world of golf.
Coming into the event, I knew that this wasn't going to be an easy fight.
Hear the Augusta National Women's Amateur this Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern on PGA Tour Radio Channel 92 and NBC Sports Audio Channel 85. And then on Monday, Masters Radio returns on Channel 92 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
In season or out of season, the #1 place for college sports is SiriusXM College Sports Radio, Channel 84.
What's next?
5-0 Houston over Toronto, bottom of the 5th inning at Minute Maid Park. Yordan Alvarez leads off against Bowden Francis. Here's the right-hander's pitch. Fouled back, 0-1. Welcome to the Timbermart broadcast booth. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. Alvarez is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout. He's been a non-factor in Houston's big offensive day. The 0-1. Tap back to the mound. Francis bobbles it, picks it up. He'll have plenty of time to sidearm it over to first and retire Alvarez, 1 out.
And the good thing about that is Yordan Alvarez almost never runs out a ball like that.
Alvarez, a guy who they've had on the IL a little bit over the last couple years. I don't even think they want him, especially on a comebacker.
Yeah.
They do not want him running out of the box. There's no point.
That was about a 7.5 40.
Yeah. If that. Here's Kyle Tucker, 1 for 1 with a home run and a walk. The pitch. Called strike 1.
And as disappointing as this score is for Blue Jays fans and probably Bowden Francis, this is a really good learning experience for him to be thrown to the Wolves, facing one of the best offenses in the big leagues.
0-1 is cut on and missed. A good splitter there to make it 0-2.
He's really learning how to navigate through a big league lineup, a very good big league lineup. It's one thing to face the Cincinnati Reds or any bottom team.
0-2, cut on and missed. Got him with the splitter, strike 3.
But to be able to learn to throw a new pitch as the game goes on to really good, successful hitters like Jose Altuve. Last inning, he struck him out, gave up a homer. to lead off the game, but then he struck him out last at bat. It shows me that he's growing. He's grown in the 5 innings that he's thrown in the big leagues this year.
Trying to get through 5 innings now. Blue Jays down 5-0. 2 outs, bases empty. The pitch to Bregman. It's grounded foul, 0-1. Speaking of other teams, on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, wild game between Kansas City and Baltimore. 3-3 game, top of the 8th. Kansas City strands the bases loaded. Baltimore takes a 4-3 lead in the bottom half. Kansas City ties it at 4-4 in the top of the 9th, and Jordan Westberg hits a 2-run walk-off home run to win it for Baltimore. Bregman waving at a curveball to make it 0-2. That out-of-town score brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill. Bregman 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts today. He has had a lot of trouble with Francis's curveball.
Yeah, he hasn't looked good at all. He struck out last at bat on that curveball, and he has a terrible swing there.
0-2 heater, check swing on a pitch high. They won't appeal. Bregman definitely held back. Francis with a breath. Steps to his left and delivers. Fastball fouled off.
And you can sense just a little bit of confidence. I know that he's down 5-0, but the longer he stays in this game, you can see there's just a little bit of confidence growing with every single pitch.
Francis nods for the sign, shrugs his shoulders, twists, and fires the 1-2. Line drive foul.
And even that swing there from Bregman was just a defensive swing. He was probably expecting one of those banger curveballs that he struck out on and that he whiffed on in the previous pitch. But he looks better now than he did early on in that game. There were probably a ton of nerves. We were talking about that earlier.
Curveball foul tipped into the glove. Strike 3, the first 1-2-3 inning for Francis, who strikes out a pair to get up to 6 on the day. Through 5 innings, the Blue Jays down 5-0. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
The Blue Jays are inviting you to work from Dome. Put it in your calendar. 307 weekday starts this season. You can work from Dome with friends or coworkers at Rogers Center. It's a game changer. Make the ballpark your office for the afternoon. Work from Dome, 307 weekday starts. Let's touch base. Check out ticket options on bluejays.com/workfromdome.
I am by your side. Got a heart so big. On this you can rely. No mountains too tall for the strong boots to climb. I am by your side.
That was Desjardins Insurance, playing insurance with a heart so big it shows. Tune in for your auto and home coverage at desjardins.com/heart.
This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
He's at the track at the wall. He leaps, and he made the catch.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
The 6th inning is brought to you by Desjardins Insurance, helping Canadians through it all. Desjardins Insurance, insurance with a heart so big it shows. Visit desjardins.com/heart today. Top of the 6th inning at Minute Maid Park. It's 5-0 for the home Houston Astros. 8-9-1 for the Blue Jays. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Kevin Biggio, and George Springer. Kiner-Falefa 0 for 1 today, 3 for 10 on the year. The pitch from Ronel Blanco, called strike 1. I'm Ben Schulman. He's Chris LaRue. Kiner-Falefa came out of that Tampa Bay series tied for the highest batting average on the Blue Jays. The 0-1. Foul tipped. 0-2. Now, extremely small sample, but they brought him in to bring some more contact in, and his 2 for 3 day in the finale certainly provided that. 0-2 pitch. IKF hits a fly ball down the right field line. That'll slice into the seats.
Yeah, he's a guy that hits. He's a contact guy. He's a lot like Ernie Clement. You can't expect him to have 20 home runs when this season's over. He'll be somewhere around 260 with 7 homers. That's all you can expect from him.
0-2, he reaches out and pokes a pop-up behind second. Altuve in right center field makes the catch. 1 out. Blue Jays still hitless here with 1 down in the top of the 6th. Exciting news for young Blue Jays fans, introducing the 2024 Junior Jays Club All-Star Membership. Get ready for an unparalleled connection to the Toronto Blue Jays with exclusive experiences you won't find anywhere else. Join the excitement at bluejays.com/JR Jays Club. Kevin Biggio swings and misses at the first pitch he sees. It's 0-1. Biggio struck out on a changeup back in the 3rd. 0-1 change is taken low. Here's the 1-1 offering. Pop up in between first and the plate in foul territory. Abreu and Biggio nearly collide. Abreu skips by and makes the catch. 2 outs.
And there's that changeup again. It's just been so good for Blanco. It's a lot like Trevor Richards' changeup, where it's just a huge difference in velocity. Not a ton of movement, but that the difference in velocity really messes with hitters. When you can get to 10, 12 miles an hour, that is an incredible changeup.
2 down, George Springer up, the only Blue Jay to reach base safely today. He fouls back the first pitch off of Yainer Diaz. 0-1. George walked in the first inning, popped out in the 3rd. Springer, of course, spent 7 years in Houston before signing with the Blue Jays as a free agent. 832 hits as an Astro, 174 home runs, and was the MVP of the World Series in 2017. Was a big part of their turnaround from one of the worst to one of the most successful organizations in baseball. 0-1 is hit hard on the ground to short. Pena picks it up, tosses over to first, and Springer's retired. Blue Jays still hitless through 6 innings. They go down 1-2-3 and trail 5-0 middle of the 6th. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Merging influences from Afropop to chamber music, Vampire Weekend helped reshape the sound of indie rock and alternative. As their 5th album, Only God Was Above Us, arrives, hear the story behind it.
I just started playing this riff. This had the feel of a good, simple pop song.
Alongside nearly 2 decades of indie classics. Vampire Weekend Radio, all month in the SiriusXM app, and for a limited time starting Friday on SiriusXMU Channel 35.
Hi, this is Mike Tirico. The 2024 Masters Tournament is coming, and you can hear all the action on SiriusXM.
It turned right into the cup for John Rahm.
Masters Radio returns Monday, April 8th, with play-by-play coverage from Augusta National Golf Club beginning Thursday, April 11th.
Rory McIlroy, 8 under par, 64. He's thinking Grand Slam.
Hear the 2024 Masters on Channel 92 when you're in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Blue Jays fans, your manager, John Schneider, joins MLB Network Radio's Power Alley every other Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern.
I got all the confidence in the world in Joe Romano. I've known him for a long time. I know his demeanor. And I always say, when you're talking about a closer giving up a couple runs in the 9th inning, it's just so much more magnified than a starting pitcher giving up a 2-run homer.
Managers at the mic on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89 and the SXM app.
After the game, join us on MLB Network Radio. We're talking baseball with you all season long on SiriusXM Channel 89 and the SiriusXM app.
Network.
Bottom of the 6th inning, Blue Jays in Houston trailing 5-0 to the Astros. Toronto trying to keep it close here in this game. They'll send Bowden Francis back out for a 6th inning of work. Francis has thrown 68 pitches so far. His 69th to Yainer Diaz is low ball 1.
And if Bowden can get through 6, I think that's a win for this Blue Jays team. Not technically a win.
No, but I know what you mean. The pitching is in an interesting spot. Here's the 1-0. Broken bat roller to third. Kiner Falefa picks it up, throws it over to first. One down. With the injuries to Jordan Romano and Eric Swanson and the questions of availability to Genesis Cabrera, some thinking that the ruling on his suspension will come down tonight. He is active tonight, but if the ruling comes down tonight or tomorrow morning, he won't be active after that. They really need guys to eat innings in certain situations, and Francis is pitching into the sixth now and facing Jose Abreu, the right-on-right offering. Strike one. Take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, brought to you by St. Louis Bar and Grill in a second. The 0-1. Hit on the ground through the hole on the right side. Abreu's first hit of the year rolls into right field.
And that actually wasn't a bad pitch. That was a fastball down and away, and Abreu kind of just sticks the bat out and goes with it. He's a good hitter. Might be 37, but he's a good hitter.
Dave Clark giving him a bit of a hug and a lap over at first base. The first base coach for Houston, the great Gary Pettis on the other side, the third base coach for the Astros. So now a runner on with one out, and Chas McCormick up, who's 1 for 2 with a double and a ground out. The pitch, high ball one. Well, we already told you on the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard that Baltimore defeated Kansas City on a Jordan Westburg walk-off homer 6-4. Another AL East team has finished up. Tampa Bay got demolished by Texas today. A 9-3 win for the Rangers over the Rays. The 1-0, down and away, 2-0. 3 hits and a home run, 4 RBIs for Josh Young, the very talented sophomore third baseman who's burst out of the gates. Corey Seager also reached base safely 3 times in the game. Here's the 2-0. Called strike one. The other AL East games, New York and Arizona, the Yankees and the Diamondbacks about to get started. Ryan Nelson starts on the Diamondbacks side. Luis Gil for the Yankees. 2-1. Down and away, 3-1. And then the last AL East game, Boston visiting Oakland. Tanner Houck gets the start for the Red Sox in that one. That's yet to go. And it's Joe Boyle for the Athletics. One down, runner on first. The 3-1 pitch coming to Chas McCormick as Abreu takes his lead. Francis into the set, kicks and fires. High drive to left field, hooking into the corner. A fair ball, and this will be extra bases again for McCormick. Abreu around third. Varsho options back in. Abreu will stop there, but it's a second double of the day for McCormick, and runners on second and third with one out for Houston.
Yeah, that was just a curveball that Bowden leaves right over the middle. McCormick hits it into the corner in left field, and Varsho does such a good job corralling that ball. It's kind of bouncing around, keeping Abreu at third base.
Blue Jays are getting the left-hander Genesis Cabrera loose. We'll see how much longer Francis has to go. He's in trouble again in the sixth with 77 pitches on his ledger. You would figure maybe they target Cabrera for that pocket of 2 lefties. Yordan Alvarez and Kyle Tucker, second and third in the order. We'll have to wait and see, though. It's the 8-hitter right now, Jeremy Pena up, who's homered and grounded out. Pena 7 for 17 to start the season. He's hitting over 400. Infield in for the Blue Jays. Tag play at the plate. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike one.
And that was a great pitch. A slider down and away. Pena ambushed him earlier in this ball game. Of course, Bowden remembered that.
Not a lot of speed at third in Abreu, so if the Blue Jays field it cleanly, you would assume he's not going on contact. 0-1 breaking ball up the middle, bounces off the mound and over the head of Biggio into center. It's bobbled in center by Kiermaier. So that is going to plate a pair of runs. Abreu and McCormick come in to score on the RBI single. And it's 7-0 Houston.
Yeah, Pena didn't really get much of that ball. That was in on the hands, hit it off the fists, and he kind of just dumps it up the middle, off the mound, actually.
Yeah, Kevin Biggio's in position there, but that one hopped off the mound, and they were giving McCormick the go-ahead, rounding third either way. But once Kiermaier bobbled it a little bit, there was never going to be a play, and that's going to do it for Bowden Francis in his first major league start. He gives up 7 runs so far and will come out of the game with 1 out and a runner on in the bottom of the 6th. With that, let's go over to baseball control. Here's Show Ali.
Thank you very much, Ben. Let's check in on those scores across Major League Baseball. Like you said, a dramatic end to tonight's Orioles-Royals game. Let's hear how it went, courtesy of the Orioles Radio Network.
The 0-2 pitch. Westberg drives it right field. It's hit well. Back goes Renfroe at the track, jumping up. It is out of here. This ball game is over. Jordan Westberg, an opposite field, 2-run shot. Anderson serves it up. And the first home run for Westberg in 2024. It is a game winner.
Jordan Westberg with the walk-off give the O's a 6-4 win. Rangers at Rays. Texas crushing Tampa 9-3. They jumped all over Tampa's Ryan Pepio early on. Josh Young with a 3-run bomb, an RBI single. He also had a bases-loaded walk. Adolis Garcia also going yard for the defending champs and was also hit by a pitch with the bases loaded as well. In the NHL, 8 games on the schedule tonight, including Leafs at Panthers down at Scotiabank Arena. They currently lead 5-3 with 2.5 minutes to go in the third period. Austin Matthews scoring his 61st goal of the season. Panthers have the net empty right now as they try and equalize down 2. You can, of course, listen to Leafs Talk following the conclusion of this one on YouTube and Sportsnet Plus. And speaking of postgame shows, we do have Jays Talk today. Blair and Barker have the postgame show all week long. I am sure they will discuss the outings from both Bowden Francis and Ronel Blanco. Blair will throw out the numbers to call after the final out at Minute Maid Park. Blue Jays baseball is brought to you by Crown Rust Protection. Jays trail the Astros 7-0 in Houston. Let's get you back to the action. Here's Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue.
Thank you very much, Joe. The left-hander Yenesis Cabrera taking the mound right now for the Blue Jays. Runner on first, 1 down, 7-0, as you said, Houston over Toronto. And Chris, we kind of were guessing that Cabrera is going to make an appearance today because he's likely to start his suspension however long it's going to be. Initially 3 games, but he's appealed. You kind of may as well use him now because he's going to get mandatory rest for a couple days.
Well, he won't be around for the next couple of days, that's for sure.
And there always is a possibility that it completely gets wiped, but typically how these things go is it was a 3-game suspension, he appeals, maybe it turns into 2. He'll start off with right-handed hitting Jake Myers. The pitch. Ground ball to third. Kiner Falefa has to charge. Gloves. Throws on the run over to first. Got him. Nice play by Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Jeremy Pena advances to second. There was no shot at a double play, but that's an athletic play at third for IKF.
Yeah, that's why they brought him in. For that play and for a couple doubles and singles every once in a while. That was a great play from IKF. Getting Myers by about a step at first base. Very athletic over there.
I thought he might chance it and see if that ball rolls foul, but he just beat Myers by about a quarter of a step. There are 2 outs now, and Jose Altuve's coming up. Runner on second. Cabrera deals. Inside, 1-0.
Yeah, to kind of finish up with the Cabrera conversation, I've seen the replay 100 times. And the way Cabrera shoves Caballero in the neck and in the jaw area, you can't wipe that suspension out. That's at least 2 games.
The 1-0. In the dirt, it bounces off the chest of Kirk and rolls toward the first base dugout. That'll advance Pena on the wild pitch. Well, we're living in a world where Johan Ramirez, the reliever for the Mets, threw at but did not hit Rhys Hoskins. He got suspended for 3 games. So that's a situation where no contact was technically made. If that's going to warrant a suspension, you'd figure that actual physical contact is going to be suspended. But we'll wait and see.
So are you surprised that it's only 3 games then?
I don't know. It's so hard to peg these things. I don't know how they come to their decisions. The 2-0. Sharp ground ball. Gobbled up by Kiner Falefa on a hop. He'll whiz it over to first. Another nice play at third by IKF. to strand the runner and end the inning. The Astros, though, add 2 more on 3 hits. They lead 7-0 as we go to the 7th. Ronel Blanco will try to continue his no-hitter when we return. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
At our core, who are we? The sum of our parts? Nah, we're more than that. There's nobody like us. At our core, we are built to win. Relentless in our pursuit of greatness. Who are we? Blue Jays to the core.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
For this life I cannot change. Hitting hills, deep off in the main.
This is George Springer, and you're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Top of the 7th inning, Ronel Blanco pitches to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who fouls back the first pitch to make it 1 strike. I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue. 7-0 for Houston over Toronto. Ronel Blanco has not given up a hit, has just walked 1 in this game. Struck out Vladdy once looking, once swinging in this game. Here's his 0-1. Down and away. On the St. Louis Bar and Grill out-of-town scoreboard, the Leafs are trying to clinch a playoff berth today. Their 5-1 lead, though, has shrunk. The 1-1 to Guerrero, fouled back 1-2. At one point, they were up 5-1 hosting the Florida Panthers, but 3 straight goals in the third period have made it 5-4. 45 seconds left in that game. The Leafs need to win that. They need the Lightning to score in the last 3 minutes right now. They're tied with the Red Wings. Red Wings can't get a point even for going to overtime, or they can't clinch tonight. 1-2 to Guerrero, fouled off. And the Islanders and Flyers are going to overtime, and the Leafs need the Flyers to come out with the win in that game. So if the Flyers win in overtime or shootout, the Lightning score in the next 2 minutes and 45 seconds, and the Leafs, who just scored an empty netter, Austin Matthews' 62nd of the year, finish off that win. They'll make the playoffs. 1-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. Guerrero has been struck out 3 times today. Blanco has 7 Ks. And we're starting to get into that territory here where a no-hitter is getting realistic for Blanco, or even if they go combined for the Astros.
Yeah, realistic. But you and I were talking earlier. It's really hard to throw a no-hitter with all the luck involved.
It's very random a lot of the time. Here's the pitch to Justin Turner. He lifts it to center. Very playable for Myers, who jogs the deep left center field and makes the catch. 2 down.
But because Blanco has that, as you see him pumping his fist, he knows what's going on. But because he has that changeup, it's the equalizer. He can throw that at any time. He just struck out Vlad twice with that changeup, a right-on-right changeup. Vlad never sees that. Right-handers don't want to throw Vlad a changeup, a BP fastball down the middle, but Blanco has all the confidence in the world.
His pitch to Dalton Varsho is a changeup cut on and miss, strike 1. 2 outs and the base is empty, top of the 7th. Blanco's pitch count too very manageable if they want to keep pushing him in this game. 77 pitches here with 2 down in the 7th. The 0-1. Varsho fouls it off, 0-2.
And Blanco's been pumping his fists after each out since about the 4th inning. I think after 4 innings, no hits, you kind of start thinking about it as a pitcher. Not thinking about it, but you know what's happening.
The crowd certainly knows. The 0-2 to Varsho. Outside, Blanco jumped off the mound. That pitch was just a little bit off the plate. And Varsho will stay alive.
Yeah, that wasn't a strike, but it was a very good pitch.
Blanco covered in sweat as he gets into the wind. Here's 1-2. Just outside again. Pretty similar spot, in fairness to home plate umpire Charlie Ramos, who's really taking it right now from the Minute Maid Park crowd.
Again, not a strike, but a very good pitch. About an inch off the plate.
Here's the 2-2. Varsho pops it up. Abreu, the first baseman, looking at it just inside fair territory, makes the catch. And that's 7 no-hit innings for Ronel Blanco to the 7th inning stretch. 7-0 Houston at Minute Maid Park. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Which Looney Dogger are you? The fork and knifer, splatterer, condiment queen, or Big Dipper? This season at Rogers Center, every Tuesday home game is Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's. You will have the opportunity to purchase $1 hot dogs from various concession stands around the stadium. Then show the world your Looney Dog style. Because whether you're the mustard maven or ketchup king, no Blue Jays game is complete without hot dogs. So don't miss out on this deal. Looney Dogs Night, presented by Schneider's, every Tuesday home game.
I am by your side. Got a heart so big.
Eastern as we give you the player's perspective of what's happening in baseball.
He is possessed every time he goes out there right now. This is crazy.
There's this energy that certain players bring.
It's Loud Outs every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM, Channel 89, and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Hello, Blue Jay fans. I'm Craig Ballard, host of your daily Locked On Blue Jays podcast. Locked On Blue Jays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On Blue Jays brings you the latest Blue Jays news and analysis and breaks down all of the action. Locked On Blue Jays is everything a Blue Jays fan could want, all in a 30-minute daily podcast. Download Locked On Blue Jays right now on the SXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or wherever you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays are in flight, leading 3-0.
Blue Jays fans, this is Ross Atkins, and you're listening to Blue Jays Baseball on SiriusXM.
Radio Network.
Welcome to the Timber Mart broadcast booth. Ben Schulman and Chris LaRue, top of the ninth inning. Ronel Blanco has a chance to no-hit the Blue Jays. He faces Isaiah Kiner-Falefa first, and the pitch is swung on and missed, strike one. Blanco back out after 91 pitches through 8 innings. Walked the first batter he saw today, has not allowed a base runner since. The 0-1. Kiner-Falefa bounces it to the mound. Blanco fields it, flipped to first, and he's 2 outs away. Mentioned earlier, the Astros have thrown 17 no-hitters in their franchise's history. Justin Verlander no-hit the Blue Jays in Toronto in 2019. Blue Jays have been no-hit 7 times in their franchise history. Most recently last year, a combined no-hitter from the Tigers, spearheaded by Matt Manning. Kevin Biggio to the plate, a native of Houston. His dad, one of the great Astros of all time. The pitch to Biggio. He grounds the ball to the right side. Diving stop at first by Abreu. Flip to first in time. 1 out away. Every no-hitter has a signature play. That might have been it in a day of not that many out-of-routine plays. Abreu went ranging to his right and made the stop, plus the throw off the seat of his pants. It all comes down to Blanco and the longtime Astro, George Springer. Fans on their feet. The pitch. Down and away, ball 1. Springer's the only guy to have solved Blanco today when he walked in the first. The 1-0. Ball 2. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. looming on deck. The 2-0 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Sounds like a playoff game at Minute Maid Park. The 2-1. Bounce, 3 balls and 1 strike. And if he's thinking about the no-hitter, he could walk Springer here. That wouldn't get rid of it. But he's almost pitched a perfect game tonight. I mean, 27 batters have come up. Springer's the 28th. 10-0 Astros, 2 outs, top of the ninth. Blanco just 2 strikes away. His 3-1 to Springer. Called strike 2. 1 strike separates Ronel Blanco from the history books. There have been 16 no-hitters in Astros history, 12 individual no-hitters. He's in the wind, the 3-2, low ball 4, and the drama continues.
And it seemed like Blanco was not going to give him anything. He would, you said it earlier, he'd much rather walk him than give up a hit. And of course, Vlad has struck out a few times tonight. Sounds weird saying this, but he'd probably rather face Vlad than George.
I mean, he struck him out all 3 times he's faced him. A mound visit from Diaz to talk to his pitcher, Blanco, give him a bit of rest here before he tries to retire Guerrero for the no-hitter. Runner on first, just the second Blue Jays base runner today. 2 outs, 10-0, top of the ninth. The pitch to Guerrero. High ball 1. It might be weird for Blanco being in the stretch right now. He hasn't pitched in the stretch since the first inning. Here's 1-0. Swing and a miss. That changeup has fooled Vlad all night, and he gets the whiff there to make it 1-1. Blanco in the set, peeks over his shoulder, kicks and delivers. Miss low. Fans getting loud for Blanco again, who tucks the ball into his glove, belt high. 1 out away from the no-hitter. His 2-1 pitch is popped up, foul out of play, 2-2. And for the second time today, Blanco is 1 strike away. Blue Jays trying to avoid being no-hit for the 8th time in their franchise's history. The 2-2. Poke to the mound. It bounces to second. Altuve over to first. It's a no-hitter for Ronel Blanco. The 17th in the history of the Astros, and they mob him at the mound. The 30-year-old has entered Astros history. What a day for Ronel Blanco, sneaking onto this rotation with injuries, making his first start of the season, only 8th career as a 30-year-old, signed at 22, like you mentioned, Chris. And he comes up with the performance of a lifetime, facing just 2 batters above the minimum, walking 2, striking out 7, and going the full 9 without any hits allowed.
What an incredible story. Signed at 22. Made his major league debut in 2022. And he wasn't even supposed to start this game. He's filling in because the Astros have so many injuries to their starting rotation. He just threw over 100 pitches. And I can almost guarantee that he was not supposed to be throwing that many pitches tonight, but the Astros let him go. Joe Espada knew exactly what was happening. This is a life-changing moment for him.
Yainer Diaz, the catcher, raced out and jumped into the arms of the pitcher Blanco, who's still getting mobbed by his teammates, does a curtain call to the crowd. Tons still on hand. They're cheering on Blanco. His no-hitter, the 17th in Astros history and the 8th against the Blue Jays in their history, secures the 10-0 win. The game is over, but we'll wrap it up on the other side. You're listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center, streaming at sportsnet.ca and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
The Blue Jays are inviting you to work from Dome. Put it in your calendar. 307 weekday starts this season. You can work from Dome with friends or coworkers at Rogers Center. It's a game changer. Make the ballpark your office for the afternoon. Work from Dome, 307 weekday starts. Let's touch base. Check out ticket options on BlueJays.com/workfromdome.
At Crown Rust Control Center, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control Center is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Everyone dreams of owning their own personal slice of heaven. Now you can, thanks to Fixed Rate Pizza by Pizza Pizza. Until the end of 2024, lock into an extra-large 4-topping pizza at a fixed price of $17.99. No matter how bad food prices get this year, your pizza price stays. So why not say no to surge pricing and yes to fixed-rate pizza? Order now from Pizza Pizza.
Order pizzapizza.ca. This is Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Vladdy with a huge stretch for the double play.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Ronel Blanco simply magnificent tonight. He no-hits the Blue Jays for the 17th no-hitter in Astros history, 13th individual no-hitter, and the Astros demolish Toronto 10-0 at Minute Maid Park. Appreciate you sticking around. We'll get you to Jays Talk in a moment, but first, I'm Ben Schulman alongside Chris LaRue, and this was Ronel Blanco's 8th career start, first of the season, Bowden Francis's first career start, and he was coming off, a lot of major league relief appearances, but not many starts. And we'll talk enough about Blanco. So start on Francis. It was a tough one for him from the jump. Surrendered 2 home runs, 3 runs in the first inning. Ended up going 5 1/3, 10 hits, 7 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. He pounded the zone, but his command was still leaving things to be wanted, Chris.
Yeah, I think when you look at the box score, it's obviously an ugly box score for Bowden Francis. He won't look at that tomorrow. He'll want to forget about this box score. But I think that as the game progressed, he got a little bit better. He started using his split finger that everybody's said so many good things about during spring training, and I felt like he had a little bit more confidence as the game went on. I know it's hard to imagine giving up 7 runs on 10 hits, but a lot of those hits were on mistakes. And it was almost like the Astros hit every single mistake that he made. That usually doesn't happen. They'll eventually, sometimes they'll hit a homer on a mistake, but other times during the game they'll foul one back or they'll hit a hard foul ball, something like that, right at somebody. But I feel like the Houston Astros tonight made Bowden pay for every single mistake that he made. So going forward, he just has to mix his pitches. He has to throw the fastball inside a little bit more and throw that split. They didn't hit it that well. When he started throwing it, the Astros looked a little bit more uncomfortable.
He ends up giving up multiple home runs to both Kyle Tucker and Yainer Diaz, another long ball to Jeremy Pena, in a big offensive day for the Astros. But that is not what the Astros will remember from this day. Instead, it was the performance of 30-year-old Ronel Blanco, who debuted in 22 but barely pitched only 7 times that year, pitched 17 times, and was a starter for them for about a month last season, called into the rotation with guys like Justin Verlander and Luis Urquidy and Luis Garcia or Jose Urquidy and Luis Garcia on the injured list. And with that, Blanco had the performance of a lifetime. Walked George Springer to start the game and walked George Springer in the 9th. Those were the only blemishes on his line, and this is how he wrapped up the game. Blue Jays trying to avoid being no-hit for the 8th time in their franchise's history. The 2-2. Poke to the mound. It bounces to second. Altuve over to first. It's a no-hitter for Ronel Blanco. The 17th in the history of the Astros, and they mob him at the mound. The 30-year-old has entered Astros history.
And the difference maker was that changeup. He threw that changeup a lot. We talked about it early on in the game. He was a reliever last year, so he didn't get to throw that changeup as much. He only threw it 9% of the time last year. But tonight, that was the pitch that he relied on. He threw it in big counts. He struck out Vlad twice on a right-on-right changeup. You don't see that very often. Pitchers are afraid of Vlad. You don't want to throw a changeup to Vlad, but Blanco, he did, and it worked, and it shows me. I mean, I don't need to be shown this, but it shows everybody. It shows Bowden Francis that you need something that runs arm side. As a right-handed starter, you need something that runs arm side, and Bowden needs to learn from that. He needs to watch tape of Ronel Blanco after the game and how he just dominated Toronto with a single pitch. All he dominated Toronto with tonight was that changeup.
I'm no pitching coach, but even if he ends up back in the pen, I'd keep throwing that changeup. Blanco finishes with the win in 9 innings, no hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Francis gets the loss. Blanco 1-0, Francis 0-1. Toronto with no runs, no hits, no errors. 2 left on, did not put a runner in scoring position. Houston with 10 runs, 12 hits, no errors, only left 4 on. They actually didn't have that many base runners. They just hit 5 home runs tonight to score 10 runs. Because of the no-hitter, rapid game in front of 27,000, it only took 2 hours and 1 minute under the closed roof at Minute Maid Park, and the Blue Jays now move to 2-3 after the loss. The Astros avoid losing 5 in a row to start the season. They are 1-4. Well, after a huge pitching performance from Ronel Blanco, a marquee pitching matchup coming up tomorrow. The schedule shows Jose Barrios going up against Framber Valdez. That will be the matchup at 8:10 Eastern, 7:10 Central, and 5:10 Pacific. The Blue Jays and the Astros in Game 2 of the series. But the Blue Jays fall today 10-0. Appreciate you sticking around for what was a historic day for the Houston Astros. For my partner, Chris LaRue, Show Ali, our host and producer, and Tom Young, I'm Ben Schulman. I imagine you have a lot of thoughts, and here is your time to get them heard. Jeff Blair and Kevin Barker have Blue Jays talk starting right now.
Let's get right to it, shall we? 416-870-0590, star 590, 1-888-666-0590. Kevin Barker, if I told you that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa would be pitching or making a pitching appearance before Jordan Romano this year, if I told you that in spring training, you would not have believed that. The Blue Jays, no hit by Ronel Blanco. Kevin Barker, Ronel Blanco threw 86 changeups all of last year as a reliever. He threw, 32?
36.
Today? 36. Pardon me. So he threw almost half as many changeups today as a starter as he threw last year. Clearly, the Jays, they didn't have any answer at all. He faced 29 batters in throwing the no-hitter, 2 more than the minimum. I told you, Kevin, that was close to a perfect game. And I'll tell you what, that might be the easiest no-hitter I've seen. I think I've seen about a dozen no-hitters covering them. That might be the easiest I've seen.
Yeah, it's like him and Diaz were just playing catch together, right? It was, you throw the slider away on the black, you miss off the plate. You can throw the change up, make sure it's down, right? You get good arm speed on it. You have a little decent run to it. You throw it to lefties and righties. You got enough fastball because you've thrown enough of the secondary stuff for strikes. The fastball looks a little bit harder. You get some really weak swings on the elevated fastball. The Jays had good pitches to hit. Like, he wasn't perfect. And he was, he established the slider away and the changeup in, and good arm speed on the changeup, and his misses were good on both of those pitches. But they got some decent pitches to hit. I still don't understand sometimes when dudes are just taking you behind the woodshed, why you don't do a little moving around the batter's box. Like, am I the only person that noticed that he was throwing a bunch of balls away to righties? Do something different. Stand a little closer. Make him uncomfortable. What do you got to lose? Why go up there and stand in the exact same spot all the time and look the exact same way? It's sort of sometimes you bring a few things on yourself. And I'm not saying Blanco wasn't great. He was. He was throwing it where he wanted to throw it.
They did not square up a lot of balls tonight. There were 2 really well-hit balls tonight, I would say.
That's my point. Even more to my point is I just don't understand occasionally. I'm not saying you do it all the time. They're creatures of habit. It's very hard to move around in the batter's box. But when somebody's just got it going and he's making you look the way he's made you look all night, I just think about halfway second time through the order, do a little moving around. Try something different. Somebody trying to lay down a bunt. I'm not for the bunt thing, but try and break it up. Get him a little uncomfortable on certain parts of the strike zone. If you do that, at least you have the chance to pass the baton that way. Maybe, you get him a little uncomfortable, get him in the stretch a little earlier. I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just, you mentioned that it was the easiest looking no-hitter that we've seen in a very long time. And I think they could just have made it a little tougher, right? Stick your nose in there. Be a tougher out, and if they would have done that, maybe things would have been a little different. But, again, you got to tip your hat. The changeup was special. What did he get? He had 24 swings on the changeup. He had 5 called strikes. He had 10 whiffs. Like, that was sort of the pitch he could go to work both sides of the plate. And then when he got comfortable throwing it to the middle of the order, he wasn't minding, mixing around all quadrants with the other couple of pitches. So he's really good. He was really good, and the Jays lineup didn't do anything.
That, if you're interested, it's the earliest no-hitter by date in MLB history.
Wow.
So here we are, April 1st, April Fools, everybody. 416-870-0590, star 591, 888-666-0590. Bowden Francis got the start for the Blue Jays. We talked about this in Blair and Barker. Kind of similar stories. I mean, different paths to the major leagues for these two guys, but two guys that were getting a chance in the starting rotation in Ronel Blanco and Bowden Francis because of injuries. Bowden Francis probably going into spring training, he probably thought he had a better chance of being in the Blue Jays rotation than Ronel Blanco. What did you see from Bowden Francis today?
Yeah, there were some good things. I mean, he was 18 for 26 throwing strike one. I mean, that's good enough. He's a big guy. He had 7 strikeouts. That's good enough. Like, the curve was good. The more he threw it, the better he got at it, right? His location, it was really good arm speed on it. He had really good extension on it. That's why, you got some big misses from it. I mean, they weren't even close on some of the strikeouts with that. It's just glove side command, right? You saw the home run to Tucker. He wanted to go away. He left it up. That was a decent pitch. That was better hitting. The Diaz thing, same thing, right? He wanted to go away with a fastball. He left it middle up, even though it was up, it was still middle. And a dude like Diaz, who's got lots of power and looking middle, doesn't have to be right down the middle. As long as it's middle and you miss your spot, if you don't throw 99 miles an hour, most of the time you can't get away from that. Look, I'm not saying you probably could have, seen this coming. But with what the Astros haven't done the last 4 games, it's, Bowden Francis's first start. There was some unknowns, just what it would look like second and third time through. It was just, you got a little something to build off of here. The box score is not exactly what he wanted it to be, but there is some things. I mean, he threw enough strike ones. The slow curveball was really good. The more he got into the flow of the game, I think the fastball command, was in more quadrants. I think the Astros, at least early in the game, had a good game plan on the elevated fastball. So he's got some things to build off of, and you sort of try to race it. You throw this in the garbage can, you move on and live to fight another day.
10-0, the Blue Jays have been no-hit by the Houston Astros in the first of a 3-game series. Sam in Hamilton. Welcome to Blue Jays Talk, my friend.
Sucks to get no hits so early. And, about Bowden Francis, is spring training real or is it fake? Because I want to believe in Bowden Francis, but I don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot of great guys who have had great springs and not turned out. So I'm a little skeptical about him. And, the offense, Dalton Varsho's gotten off to a slow start again. Kiermaier's batting average isn't as good as we want it to be so far. I know it's 4 games in, but the guys who didn't have good seasons last season aren't really starting the season off with a bang.
Yeah, listen, appreciate the call. It is. I was just thinking about Dalton Varsho. We spent all spring singing his praises. I don't know, Kevin. Again, we're only 5 games in, but it looks a lot. It looks a lot like it did at times last year for him. And Bowden Francis, listen.
It's his first
I think
start.
we have to keep in mind it's his first start.
Yeah.
And we have to keep in mind what Bowden Francis is. Bowden Francis is the 5th starter in this team.
Yeah.
And that's basically what he is. Alek Manoah is healthy. Bowden Francis probably isn't on the team as a starter. He's probably in the bullpen as a long reliever. So I'm less inclined to talk about or worry about Bowden Francis tonight than I am about the fact that the Jays, after a game in which they scored 9 runs, were hamstrung by a guy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it didn't come up in the hitters meeting that he throws the changeup. I don't know. But again, I kept waiting, and I think you did too, Kevin. I kept waiting for that adjustment, second time through, third time through. I kept waiting for something that suggested to me that all this stuff I heard in spring training was going to come to fruition. As I said, it looked to me the way the Jays looked an awful lot last night.
I think so. I do think sometimes you got to tip your hat. Like, he was having a good night. The changeup was really good. I'm sure because there's probably a reason why you don't throw the changeup a lot. Now, obviously, being in the pen, you're probably a 2-pitch guy, right? It's a 4-seamer slider. You know, this is probably a work in progress. Understanding that he's been working on this in spring training, I don't think anybody thought it would be this good. It's got good run to it. It's got good arm speed to it. There's a big difference between that and the fastball velocity, which is a big deal. And for me, it started with you get him looking away. We saw this. I told you this today on our show, that the first game against the Rays, they were all quadrants, right? It was in, it was up, it was down, it was away. After that, the next 3 games, it was everything away. Right? It was glove side, even to the lefties. It was into the lefties. It was away to the righties. Did you see anything different from him tonight? Now, again, it was the different speed on the changeup, which it had good run to it. And, I think he got really confident in it when he threw it to Vladdy the first time. And then that's sort of when, Vladdy was taking some real big giant hacks. I'm sure he's seeing that Crawford box over there thinking, I don't have to do a ton to hit a homer here. I just get it out a little bit and stay through it. He was swinging on his heels a little bit because he was over swinging. And I'm sure that gave him enough confidence to continue to go to it. And, not everybody in the lineup is Vladdy. So I think it's sort of, this is, again, I just don't understand that adjustment in the batter's box. Why you let a dude do the same thing to you over and over again? I thought she's a veteran team. Like that part of it, I don't understand. If you're going to get beat fighting. Like, do something different. Stand different in the play. Make the target smaller for him. Make him do something else. Make him not, throw a first pitch slider away for strike one. Like, take that away from him. Force him to do something else. Jeff, did you see any of that? I didn't. No. That, for me, was the frustrating part of all this because they are very smart in the batter's box. They have tremendous game plans going in, but occasionally you just got to throw that out the window and say, this dude's got good stuff. We got to stick our nose in here and figure this out. And we just didn't see that. And for me, that's frustrating.
Yeah, and we talked coming into this game about the Astros. Their middle relief wasn't good. We're led to believe they didn't have Josh Hader tonight. Like, I'm not saying that they were going to be easy pickings, but the Astros were a bit of a hurting group coming into this game, and lo and behold, they get a no-hitter from Ronel Blanco. Further to your point, that 4th inning, and I know Chris LaRue and Ben talked about this as well. So did Dan and Buck. The righty and righty changeup. He just had no fear throwing the righty and righty changeup. He got Turner and Turner to chase on the one, and Vladdy got called out and struck out on another one as well. He had no fear throwing it.
Yeah, you get the lead right too. You get confident.
Sure.
Again, for me, he found his lane middle away to righties. When you find your lane middle away to righties, you get a lead. Now you can go, well, let's start sprinkling that thing in. Maybe that thing will get us some quick outs. We can work through this, go a little deeper in the game, and then you start seeing the hacks that you started seeing. You started throwing it more. You throw it 36 times, and the next thing you know, you got a no-hitter. So that's just the frustrating part of it. I hate that you came on here and the first thing you said was, that was a pretty easy-looking no-hitter.
It was. It was easy.
Jay's got too good a lineup to do that. Like, again, go down fighting. And I just don't know why we don't see that, right? Stand on top of the plate if you have to. Like, do something different. Get closer to, I don't know, do something that's outside the box to make him uncomfortable. And they did nothing. They took the same old hack every single time. And a dude that was locating a couple of different pitches with a couple of different speeds took you behind the woodshed. And I think sometimes you bring a little bit of that on yourself. Not taking anything away from him by any means.
Right.
But they helped out a little bit when they didn't really have to.
416-870-0590, star 590, 1-888-666-0590. The Blue Jays have been no-hit in the 5th game of the season. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa pitching the 8th inning for the Blue Jays. Look, I think it's embarrassing. I'm sure people think it's funny seeing position players pitch.
5th game of the season.
5th game of the season.
He's your starting third baseman.
I keep thinking of who was it? Was it Ryan? Was it Ryan
Goins?
Goins throwing his arm out, coming in and pitching in that Canada Day game, hurting his arm and going.
Well, that's later in the season. That's later in the season.
Yeah, but my point. My point is, Yeah, I honestly think that if you use a position player in the game, you should be forced to play the next game a reliever short. I just think it's embarrassing.
Anyway.
I think well then you know what? Then you got to play 2 relievers short.
Well,
it's really a bad look. I'm sorry. I think it's really a bad look. I understand why the Jays do it. They're clearly within their rights to do it. It's clearly part of the rules. To me, it's embarrassing though. To me, it's embarrassing to have to do it this early in the season. Greg and Hamilton, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Yeah, so thanks, guys, for taking the call. First of all, I love you guys. You guys are doing an amazing job. For me, I was just looking at it, and I'm thinking, Houston lost 4 to New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, the Jays come in tonight, and you got a 5th starter, and you get no hit by. When was the last time that you saw a 5th starter no hit a team? First of all,
I mean, the Jays got tag teamed in a no hitter last year. Don't forget, by the Detroit Tigers.
Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you've got a 5th starter, what are the Jays going to do in the playoffs if you cannot get a hit against the 5th starter? What are you going to do in the playoffs if you can't make adjustments?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the call. I don't think we can necessarily make that leap. I just don't. I don't think you can. It's the same thing. Well, the Yankees swept the Astros. The Jays came in and were no hit by the Astros. So therefore, does that mean that the Jays are going to lose all their games against the Yankees? I mean, you can't make that. You can't make that jump. You just can't. But I will say this. I agree to your point about making adjustments. It's something Kevin's talked about. It's just not. I can't put it any other way. It's not a good look.
It's real simple for me. Their plan is always do damage. Swing at things you can do damage on. Well, what if a pitcher ain't throwing you nothing you can do damage on? And he's pitching the way he was pitching tonight. It's up to you now to make the adjustment to force him into the zone to get something you can drive. And they didn't do that. It's frustrating.
John Schneider is the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. He was asked about the no-show tonight.
The no-hitter is an outlier, you know what I mean? So, I think that we're doing all right with where we hope to be, in terms of what the offense is supposed to do. Tonight is just, it's one of those nights. You give credit to a guy to do something really, really hard to accomplish, and a loss is still a loss. You move on to tomorrow.
That is the good thing about baseball, is you get to move on to tomorrow. You've got Jose Barrios on the mound. You've also got Framber Valdez on the mound. For the Houston Astros. He is right. No-hitter is an outlier. That's why we make such a big deal about them. It's why they're so rare. I've often wondered, Kevin, why we don't see more of them early in the year. Now, I understand that pitchers aren't built up yet. I get all that. But I have often wondered why we don't see a few more of them early in the year, because the pitchers are generally always ahead of the hitters. And I guess maybe it's just because the pitchers aren't, they're not fully built up. That's probably the obvious reason.
I would think there's a combination of a bunch of things, right? It could be the weather. It could be, obviously, the pitch count. That's a big part of it.
Yeah. They didn't have to worry about that tonight.
Well, guys don't have their best stuff either, right? The maintaining velocity, we've seen it. Velocity was all over the place. It was all over the place with Bowden Francis. It's all over the place with Kevin Gausman, Chris Bassett. Like every one of these guys, velocity sort of all over the place. So that's probably the reason why. It just gets back to that. John's supposed to say that. Like John's supposed to say that we like our offense where it's at. And I think every once in a while, you got to throw things out the window, game plans. No, I'm sure they had a great game plan going in there. They know exactly that this dude threw a bunch of sliders. Okay, well, after about the first time through, when he's locating that thing, what you gonna do about it? It didn't look to me like that they had any chance of hitting it. They were out and around, they were over swinging at it. Credit to him, he was throwing really good ones, and you can tell that thing breaks late, and he's getting called strikes on it, which makes it even tougher. That's even further to my point of sometimes, occasionally, I'm not saying all the time because they are creatures of habit, and they make tons of money to hit balls really, really hard. But every once in a while, dude just got it. And you need to make adjustments. Moving around, The first thing moving around would do to a catcher that knows what he's doing, he would look down and go, "Uh-oh, now what?"
Yeah,
they
but Kevin,
just
you know
made
what
an
I
adjustment.
think?
Now what do
but
we
you
do?
know what that is? You know what I think the reason for that is? That's because that isn't an analytical approach. Moving around isn't something that you would be told, that you would get. I mean, it's not. It's something you would have to do on your own. You know, we've talked about guys like Moises Alou. Tons of players moved around the box all the time.
Marquise Grissom used to move around the box all the time.
Larry Walker. I mean, a lot of guys I've covered.
Jeff Jenkins that I play with all the time.
They would move. Now, I'm not saying it. Sometimes it's not that noticeable, but you'll see guys move just to give the pitcher a different look. Just put something fresh in the catcher's mind. And you know, if I understand that this guy's MO was a slider and fastball, I get that. But Kevin, through 2 innings, 12 four-seamers, 12 sliders, and 8 changeups, I might have said to myself, the guy's throwing more changeups than we expected. Maybe we ought to do something different here.
Yeah, I think it was more for me anyway, the location of the slider and the cold strikes he was getting. Like his misses were really good. They were tough takes against that pitch, and the fastball, it looked like it had a little extra gear to it. And it was one side of the plate. It was glove side to the lefties and righties. And then he would sprinkle in the changeup, and it would have decent run down and away to both. Like it would go in to righties. That was more arm side with the changeup, and he would go glove side with the slider. I'm just saying occasionally you got to take one of them away. Guys got it going on. That's all. About halfway through the second time, you would think somebody would raise their hand and go, "Hey, maybe we need to mix it up a little. Let's try something different." And it just didn't.
Catherine in Bowmanville, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Good evening.
Hey, Catherine.
I can still barely contain myself. I am so disgusted that the Blue Jays just walked off the pitch. They didn't have the decency, have the good manners to stand there and just give the guy a little applause. Good match. Good show. You beat us. We didn't do anything. You did the damage, you know. That was so disgraceful. It's like, you know, all those Canadian teams, they don't want to shake hands. They throw them. They didn't come here. They didn't win gold. We came for gold and only gold. How? Play up and play the game. Then you'll be a man.
Yeah, I don't know how many teams, Catherine, thank you for the call. I don't know how many teams would line up to applaud an opponent throwing a no-hitter. Frankly, if I was a Blue Jays player, I just want to get the hell out of him. I might not even shower. I might just go back to the hotel. I mean, I might just pull a Bryce Harper in spring training the day you saw him gassing up his car in his sandals and his uniform. I may just walk back to the hotel and get the hell out of there. Yeah, I mean, Catherine, I mean, all kidding aside, it's you know, the most you're going to see is a team sit in the dugout and look out in the field and kind of digest what happened. But you usually only get that during the playoff game or something like that. I mean, it's just the way it is. And I think John Schneider's right. Look, these guys aren't going to show up tomorrow and be any less likely to beat Framber Valdez because there were no hit. It is an outlier. But I keep getting back to this. Yeah, it's not the whole thing with IKF, and I'm not going to hammer that too much because it's just not a good look. To me, it just suggests you're not competing. That's pretty much the way I would put it. And I know Kevin Cash, and the Rays did that. I mean, how many times did the Rays have somebody pitch last year? I think IKF pitched 3 times last year for the Yankees of that. So it's not that the Jays did something new or, as I said, went against the rules. It's just a bad look. 5th game into the year, it's a bad look to be having a position player pitching.
Yeah, I think sometimes too you're a little embarrassed, right, that you got no hit and you know, standing out there and applauding for a guy probably was not the easiest thing to do. I mean, he took him behind the woodshed. I mean, there's really nothing else you can say. He's really good. Like it's, you know, when that guy's really good and there's not a ton of adjustments being made in game, this is sort of the effect at the big league level, right? Especially when a guy can do it to both sides of the plate with different speeds and then elevate with 2 strikes. Man, that's next level stuff. And I think, you know, sometimes as an athlete, you're sort of a little embarrassed about that. You can't wait to get off the field. And that's sort of, the way it looked for the Blue Jays tonight. You had your starting third baseman pitching in the 8th inning in Game 5 of the season.
I know. Yeah.
Like I understand why John did it because of who he doesn't have, and Cabrera's not going to be there tomorrow, and I get it. Like they're going to be a man short, and it's going to be all hands on deck. But it's the 5th game of the season. Like,
I just say I think it's really embarrassing. I think it looks awful.
Won't be the last time we see it though.
Oh, probably not.
Nope.
Probably not. And it may not be the last time we see it in the next week. The way things, the way things are going. But not even a bench guy. Your starting third baseman. Was pitching.
Yeah.
The guy that you gave a multi-year contract to be your third baseman was pitching the game. I mean, it was. Let's just say it. Say it the way it was. 10-0. The Blue Jays have been no-hit by Ronel Blanco of the Houston Astros. 29 batters to the plate. George Springer drawing a couple of walks. Other than that, as I said, Ronel Blanco was awfully close to throwing a perfect game. We'll take a break and come back with more. It's Blue Jays Talk on Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
Timber Mart is Canada's building center, a solid neighbor to call upon when you've got a job to do. Your dependable home improvement store that offers the added value of Air Miles reward miles with every purchase of $15 or more. Visit timbermart.ca.
It's sports streaming season. This spring, get set for nonstop action on Sportsnet Plus.
Unbelievable.
Every electrifying game of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Did you see that?
All the knockout moments in UFC. Awe-inspiring action from the NBA playoffs. Plus, the Toronto Blue Jays are back in full swing. Catch all the can't-miss moments that matter most to you. Because when it happens in sports, it happens on Sportsnet Plus. Subscribe at sportsnetplus.ca.
At Crown Rust Control, protection runs deep because every Crown Rust Control Center is owned by a local family who cares beyond business. Your Crown Rust Control is 100% committed to their product, to you, to their community, which is your community. Protecting you and what matters to you is equally important as protecting your vehicle. Did you know spring's the best time of year to protect your vehicle from rust? For a special spring offer, find your local family-owned Crown Rust Control Center at crown.com.
Everyone dreams of owning their own personal slice of heaven. Now you can, thanks to Fixed Rate Pizza by Pizza Pizza. Until the end of 2024, lock into an extra-large 4-topping pizza at a fixed price of $17.99. No matter how bad food prices get this year, your pizza price stays. So why not say no to surge pricing and yes to fixed-rate pizza? Order now from Pizza Pizza.
Order pizzapizza.ca.
It's time to reinvent, reimagine, redefine, and refresh your spring style at TSC. Find your flow from new arrivals and the latest accessories to designer brands that make fashion a breeze. Shop it all with 5 interest-free easy pay payments. Embrace your style and celebrate all things spring. Shop exciting offers every day at tsc.ca.
At our core, who are we? The sum of our parts? Nah, we're more than that. There's nobody like us. At our core, we are built to win. Relentless in our pursuit of greatness. Who are we? Blue Jays to the core.
Timber Mart always has plans to help you with your plans. Your home, your cottage, your garage, whatever needs your attention first, check the most visited spot on our website for ready-to-order plans to get the job done with Canada's Building Center. Visit timbermart.ca.
Hey, this is Trevor Richards. You're listening to Toronto Blue Jays Baseball on the Sportsnet Radio Network.
Look at that lineup. I think it's just tip the cap. They were ready for it. You know, sometimes those pitches are pop-ups, sometimes they're swing and miss, sometimes they're homers. I think it's just how it fell today.
Yeah, that was Bowden Francis. I don't know about Bowden, old Bowden. That 435-foot shot from Niner Diaz. That was.
Yeah, I bet
that was those that was gone.
Is that his chin though, Jeff? I mean, to his credit, I know he missed his spot, but it was at his chin.
Yep.
Like every once in a while, I'm with Bowden. Every once in a while, you got to tip that hat and go, holy.
Nah, you know what? I'm not into cap tipping 5 games into the season.
No?
Nah, I'm not. I'm not into cap tipping. I'm sorry. I'm just not. 416-870-0590, star 591, 888-866-0590. The earliest no-hitter by date in MLB history. That's what we saw. That's what we heard tonight. 10-0, Ronel Blanco carving up the Toronto Blue Jays. Actually, the closest the Jays came, I just had to say this, the closest the Jays came to breaking up the no-hitter was in the 8th inning when Alejandro Kirk led off by smoking a ball off the pitcher's glove, rolled to the second baseman for your traditional 1-4-3 out. I mean, Altuve could have kicked the ball over to first base to get Kirky. That was basically the closest the Jays came to breaking up that no-hitter. The only other real play of any consequence was Isaiah Kiner-Falefa's ball in the 3rd inning, leadoff fly ball to left center, kind of a little farther to the left, and maybe it gets into the Crawford boxes. But that was basically it for the Blue Jays. 10-0. The Jays have lost to the Houston Astros and Ronel Blanco. Joe in North York, you're on Blue Jays Talk.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call. Question for you, and I'll listen to your answer off the air. If you had $1,000 to bet tomorrow, and this is a serious question, by the way. If you had $1,000 to bet tomorrow, what would you take? The Blue Jays make the playoffs, or Framber Valdez no-hits the Jays tomorrow? Thanks, guys.
I'd take the playoffs. Like look. I mean, I think right now we can.
If I had $1,000, I'm not betting on baseball.
We can all agree that I would think that they think that they're going to get sinkers down and away. If you're right-handed, you're getting a sinker down and away. I mean, it's pretty obvious that that's what you're probably going to get, Jeff. Like we all can agree in that.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably, you might want to think right center occasionally early in the game. Maybe think about trying to barrel something up, and he's really good too. Like it's you stay in the big part of the field. You're trying to look for something up. You're trying to square that thing up. I mean, is it doing it back to back? So I'm taking my chances on the. I still think they're a playoff team. Like I get the feeling.
I get the feeling this is going to be one of those years because of what we've seen from this team in the past couple of years, especially last year. I get the sense this is going to be one of those years where anytime there's a game where the Jays don't get a lot of hits, people are going to just look back at last year and go, same old Blue Jays. Same old Blue Jays.
Yeah, I think the beauty of this thing is that, that I don't think the Rays are much better than the Jays. I don't think the Mariners are much better than the Jays. Like, those couple of teams are fighting for the same thing the Jays are. So, you string together some things, you get some healthier pitching. And, because that's what probably consistently you're going to be is a run prevention team than an offensive team. I just wonder, will things like this change your approach? Hitting's a lot mental. Like and the 5th game of the season after you just scored 9 runs against the team, you got no hit against the guy most people I could tell you ain't never heard of.
Yeah, I think, though, you've got Framber Valdez is going to show up tomorrow with a pitch you weren't expecting to see.
I mean, further to my point.
No, but what I'm saying
I'm not
is
saying they're getting no hit tomorrow. I'm saying what's that going to do confidence-wise with the approach that they've been preaching to you? Maybe a little nothing, but I would think, there's some flaws in what they're selling when it comes to, you always got to buy into this. This is what you're buying into. And it's a simple, easy approach. Like
I think it's a little early to be talking about flaws. Now, Schneider's right. No hitters they are an outlier. They really are an outlier. I keep getting back to the fact that we talked to Jeff Blum about this today. At no point did Jeff Blum say, hey, you know what? You're probably going to see as many change-ups from this guy today as you're going to see sliders. I mean, he didn't expect it. My whole point is, again, it was pretty obvious what Ronel Blanco's plan of attack was through the first first 2 innings. Certainly by the time the 4th innings rolled around, when Guerrero gets called out and strikes, Turner chases, Varsho chases, by that point you know what this guy's MO is. That it's been pretty well established that you're not going to see 60% slider or whatever it was you thought going into the game. And yes, you know what? It was a good pitch, but you're a veteran lineup. You should be able to adjust to it. Certainly by the 7th inning. You should be able to
adapt and overcome. Occasionally you got to do that against a guy that's just feeling it. Like Blanco's feeling it, right? He was getting it going. They wasn't no thinking about it. Like, I'm getting it going. I've got a good release points coming off the fingers.
Yeah.
That thing's going to go down and into a righty, down and away to a lefty, and I can throw my slider whenever I want to for a called strike, and I'm going to sprinkle around that fastball because I've already thrown my changeup, and now my fastball looks like it's 195 miles an hour. Occasionally, you got to take your batting gloves off and get a little dirty and stick your nose in there, and for me, they just didn't do that enough.
Having said that, being down 3-0 after the first inning, 4-0, 3 home runs. Yeah,
if you're wanting to play with a changeup, it helps to be up 5 runs.
Well, it helps.
Absolutely.
You can play with a changeup if you've got a 4-run lead and the bases are empty.
Yeah,
why not? I mean, keep throwing it until. I mean, it wasn't even in this. How many times is he in the stretch? Not only did he have a new pitch,
one time until the 9th inning.
Yeah. So not only does he have his new pitch, his new toy, but he's pitching with a big lead, and he doesn't even have to worry about having a runner on base. It's just, as you said, it's him and the catcher. They're playing catch.
Yeah.
But for the Houston Astros, when you look at Verlander, Urquidy, McCullers, Garcia, 4/5 of a real good starting rotation gone. A guy like this steps up, and at some point we're led to believe I think they think they're going to get Verlander back by the end of the month. They think they're going to get Urquidy back by the end of the month.
Yordan Alvarez didn't even get a hit today either.
No. He had a walk, and Alex Bregman struck out 3 times.
Yeah,
and popped up to the third to IKF and his other at bat. So basically, your number 2 and your number 4 hitter did nothing. They were 0 for 8 with a walk.
Tucker and Diaz had 4 homers combined.
Yeah,
that'll do.
Yeah. Kyle Tucker's.
He's way up there as one of the best left-handed hitters in baseball, and we don't talk about him a ton.
So Bark, 5-5. You happy if they come back 5-5 now? They're 2-3, 2 more games against Houston. Then they're on to the Bronx.
No,
5-5 looks 5-5 looks awfully good.
It sure seems that way because consistently the quality of the at bat's just not there. I mean, early in the season right now, you can pitch to them. Like their best hitters are right-handed. A good pitcher that's got a good slider that they can get called strikes on and get them in swing mode. I mean, you can work through this lineup a little bit. It's the guy that can't do that. That's the one they hammer. So if you're looking at games they got a chance of winning, look for the guy that don't have the slider that can go middle of the way, and that'll like tomorrow, Framber Valdez.
I hate to say
maybe
it, though,
they got a decent chance.
They're 2-3, and I don't think, other than Zach Eflin in Game 1, I don't think you can say they faced elite starting pitching. The starting pitching is going to get a lot better from this point on. Between here, the Yankees, and then Seattle. Like, they have not run into the best starters they're going to see yet.
Yeah, I think their lineup. I think the lineup's going to be. I think it's going to be a little bit better this year. It's just there's going to be some ups and downs. Like the guy that knows how to pitch. I mean, a lot of the times that'll happen, but it's that guy. Can you make adjustments? Can you just say enough's enough? I'm going to do this.
10-0, the Toronto Blue Jays. No hit tonight by Ronel Blanco. Remember the name. Jays get back at it tomorrow. The second game of this 3-game series against Houston Astros. Thank you for listening to Blue Jays Baseball, brought to you by the local family-owned Crown Rust Control Centers in Winnipeg and Winkler, Manitoba, which is only 7 kilometers from where I grew up. Protect your vehicle from rust today. Find your local family-owned Crown at crown.com, Canada's #1 rust protection.
This This has been Major League Baseball play-by-play on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app.
Why do I love calling this game?
Calling this game?
Calling this game?
Calling this game. Why do I love calling this game? It's because I get a chance to bring some joy into people's lives.
Anything can happen on a baseball field.
We've got a new game. It's perfectly unscripted theater.
Everybody on their feet.
Because you never know what you're going to see on a given day.
It is bedlam at the bank as Bryce Harper has put the Phillies on top.
There's just something about baseball on the radio.
Something about the way wood hits leather.
A swing and a drive to deep left center.
The way leather hits dirt.
And he made the play.
The way a deep fly ball sounds like it's about to change history.
High fly ball to center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall.
Until the cleats hit the grass, hit the crushed brick, and then nothing but sky and a silent crowd.
That ball's high.
Until leather hits leather and 40,000 fans lose their collective minds.
In a perfect symphony of chaos.
He jumped up on top of the wall, balanced himself, and caught it.
The way nothing triumphs a perfectly honest call.
The way the right voice can make a moment live forever.
Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Outsiders may think this is just two teams.
A ball, a bat, and a microphone, but no.
For over 100 years, this has been the soundtrack of the American pastime.
He struck it out looking. It's over. It's over. The Rangers have won the World Series.
The soundtrack of summer. This is Major League Baseball on the radio.
Right now on SiriusXM.
All rise.
Coming in 5.
Get ready to play. 4.
Get up. Get up.
3.
Can you believe it?
Put your seatbelt on.
Wow. Talk about the game and all the stories on MLB Network Radio, SiriusXM 89 and the SiriusXM app.
Mariners on Sirius 98, XM 184 and Internet 864. Guardians on Internet 847. 10:10 p.m. LA Dodgers take on the San Francisco Giants. Dodgers on Sirius and XM channels 89, Internet 853. Giants on Internet 863. Spanish feed on Sirius 108, XM 185 and Internet 871. I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM MLB schedule for Monday, April the 1st. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In Major League Baseball, 2:10 p.m. Chicago White Sox take on the Atlanta Braves. White Sox on Sirius 208, XM 175 and Internet 845. Braves on Internet 841. 2:20 p.m. Chicago Cubs take on the Colorado Avalanche. Cubs on Sirius 209, XM 176 and Internet 844. Rockies on Internet 848. 4:05 p.m. Washington Nationals take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Nationals on Sirius 106, XM 177 and Internet 869. Pirates on Internet 861. 6:35 p.m. Baltimore Orioles take on the Kansas City Royals. Orioles on Sirius 119, XM 178 and Internet 842. Royals on Internet 851. 6:40 p.m. Miami Marlins take on the LA Angels. Marlins on Sirius 162, XM 179 and Internet 854. Angels on Internet 852. 6:40 p.m. Philadelphia Phillies take on the Cincinnati Reds. Phillies on Sirius 137, XM 180 and Internet 860. Reds on Internet 846. 6:50 p.m. Tampa Bay Rays take on the Texas Rangers. Rays on Sirius 138, XM 181 and Internet 866. Rangers on Internet 867. Spanish feed on Internet 870. 7:10 p.m. New York Mets take on the Detroit Tigers. Mets on Sirius 158, XM 182 and Internet 857. Tigers on Internet 849. 8:10 p.m. Houston Astros take on the Toronto Blue Jays. Astros on Sirius 146, XM 183 and Internet 850. Blue Jays on Internet 868. 9:40 p.m. Arizona Diamondbacks take on the New York Yankees. Diamondbacks on Sirius 208, XM 175 and Internet 840. Yankees on Internet 858.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. SiriusXM Channel 89.
He was the vice president of baseball operations during the time when Peter Angelos owned the Baltimore Orioles, and upon hearing of Angelos' recent passing, MLB Network Radio host Jim Bowden went on SiriusXM Channel 89 to share a story about the Baltimore native who did so much to keep the Orioles in the city.
He bought the team in '93 to keep it from potentially leaving. Right, so we had seen locally the Colts had left in the middle of the night, so there's this whole feeling around in Baltimore that the Orioles might leave too. And they were up for sale. Eli Jacobs owned the team for a little bit, but they were talking about moving it out of town. And there was a lot of angst about